Back higher we go here this morning as we rebound from quite a volatile end to the session yesterday. Will there be more constructive talks or won't there be today? We'll see. But for the time being, at least a ceasefire has been extended between Iran and the U.S. So here we are, the S&P anyways, back towards session highs this morning ahead of big earnings to come after the close tonight. Big earnings, hey, let's admit it, this morning as well. We'll get into Boeing moving around here this morning. Tesla, the headliner, though, coming up after the close tonight. Not doing a heck of a lot here in the pre-market for Tesla, but a bit of a weak session yesterday, weaker anyway than most of the rest of tech. We also get ServiceNow, which is going to be kind of interesting, I think, given what has happened to software over the past couple of months. I mean, this thing's had a pretty good couple of days here, a pretty good couple of weeks anyways with the move of the overall market, but a lot of focus back on software. I mean, I was reading this morning that the sector, the software sector, had its best 2 weeks in 25 years.
Wow.
On a bounce off of the lows following that sell-off. So, I mean, let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, and IBM also in focus as well, and they got hit really hard with that whole software sell-off. So nice to see them rebounding. I feel like, you and I talked about this yesterday, as markets like kind of pricing in what the future was going to be, but in the short term, a lot of people are not going to stop spending on these issues, especially with the cybersecurity names. I was reading an interesting report yesterday about CrowdStrike, and there was like, okay, well, AI is causing all these security vulnerabilities in legacy software to come to light. And so you're not going to see these hyperscalers or these bigger companies start shifting away their spend from cybersecurity. In fact, they're going to double down because there's more vulnerabilities that are being exposed. In light of the fact that we heard that Mythos, that new operating, or LLM, sorry, by Anthropic, it fell into the hands of the wrong people apparently here. It found its way out, Brendo. Yeah. So, some people have got their hands on it.
I heard a good point this morning, and I'll throw it out there, see what you guys think. How much of this from Anthropic is marketing?
Exactly.
And how much of this is actually real? Like,
it found
its way onto a forum? Like, come on. Like, if this thing is really as dangerous as, they're saying it is, they have it under lock and key, obviously.
One would expect.
It just mysteriously found it. Like, come on.
The story goes that they had to give it to these companies that they're working with. Remember that working group that they've got to kind of try to shore down some of these security vulnerabilities? And then, having given it to those companies, they magically found its way online. But the point being, these things are getting better. Yeah. And if they're going to get better, they're going to continue to find vulnerabilities, and these companies have to, take action in the short term.
Definitely. So we'll see what ServiceNow is going to be the first of a few software companies to come. I mean, we'll get Microsoft obviously coming up here in the next couple of weeks as well. Really good day yesterday. We're gapping higher here again this morning. I was just looking at USO. I was just hearing there was a little bit of a move. I didn't really see it. A downtick, but more than anything. But this thing was just wild yesterday into the close on will there be a deal, will there won't be a deal, and what that's going to look like. So oil kind of chopping around with this right now. Some energy names to watch this morning as well. But overall, I mean, kind of a wait and see here, guys. Good morning.
Good morning for sure, and it's an even gooder and a better morning if you own shares of car of Avis. Why not? It's up again. If you thought it was over, it's not over. It ain't over. It's still 8% to the upside. It's good day for the markets to start off here because, as Brendan mentioned, like the yo-yo insanity action that we saw in the afternoon. It was like headline after headline dropping us. I think we got 5 significant volume events in the back half of the day. And all with the exception of one of them, they were all sending the markets lower. But we're pretty much where we left off, more or less. Like it's when we sat down at 2 o'clock, we're right about the same prices where we sat down in the afternoon, if you look at oil futures. So for now, understand that anything can happen at any moment. We were joking around saying that we should have like an over-under on how many of those types of headlines we get today. Like, do we see another 5?
I'm not even joking, man. I think at some point, like, exactly. How many more times is that going to pop up? But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I wouldn't be surprised if we're kind of heading back into that realm of where we're really headline sensitive, right? We had a couple of weeks a week or so where it was just everything was cool, off to the races we go, and then yesterday it was just like boom, 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 boom. Everything started to hit the news feed, and then sure enough, we had a bunch of volatility spikes throughout the day. So let's see. Hopefully things are a little bit cooler, right? And if not, we were talking with Brian Shannon yesterday as well too, just on the fact it's like, all right, just be prepared to size down, and anything can happen at any given moment.
Well, that's the thing. Like if you think something usually has like a $2 range, and maybe it'll be 4, 3 or 4, and then you just adjust accordingly. See that headline, Google? Well, Alphabet reportedly plans to highlight that it's using AI internally to generate 75% of all new code. That would be good for efficiency. You just saw a spike. Well, if you're looking at it, you just saw a spike in Alphabet here, up about 1.5%, but it just went about 1%. So what was we had the polls, like what was the Mag 7, and then we included Broadcom. So like mega cap tech name that was gonna get to its high first.
Yeah, all-time high.
And I don't believe. Okay, so we had Alphabet was in there. It's not there yet. Amazon was also on there. It did not load PC load letter. It didn't get there, right? I won't say it didn't. No, it did not. It missed it by a little bit here. Broadcom didn't make it. No. And the name that we didn't have on the list because it's not big enough.
Oh,
is
yeah,
AMD.
Yeah, AMD, yeah.
Which I guess it's fair. Like AMD doesn't count. They weren't big enough to make it onto that list. But like a bunch of these, they're all trying. But AMD is the one that absolutely did get there. GE Renova.
What's the market?
They reported this morning, and bye-bye. The problems with the 1,000 level are gone. Well, it helps if you beat top, bottom, and raise the guidance and beat expectations there too as well. Fantastic growth for them. Look. This one just continues to be a rocket ship. Another rocket ship is going to be, more literally, STS Space Mobile. They're up a few points here. Actually, 7% after pulling back. I thought it was double digits at one point. Yeah, it was almost double digits at one point. They were higher because the FCC granted its application to modify its authorization to launch and operate its space mobile non-geostationary orbit satellite system in low Earth orbit. Of course, they had that somewhat failed launch.
Boeing to the top side
and
too.
Boeing also reporting
Boeing
their higher. So far, there's far more positive stories than negatives. There really isn't much to lean into. Of course, the headline can come at any time. It changes things. But
there goes the NVDA. NVDA is kind of moving here, guys. Same with the overall market. I mean, we can pull this up for you guys so you can see a nice print right there on the 5-minute. There was a volatility spike and then a rebound. It decided to climb a little bit higher here. So, I mean, we're already off to a good start. Do we want to get too extended? No, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I mean, we have a pretty solid lineup after the bell here as well, too. Neil, Tesla, Lam Research, IBM. We had Texas Instrument as well after the close. AT&T was this morning, and then ServiceNow after the market closed. So yeah, I mean, a solid lineup. Tesla going to be the main event essentially of everything. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. What are we thinking here on Tesla from an intraday standpoint leading into the earnings report?
Well. First off, we're also thinking that Google, NVIDIA and Alphabet collab to advance agentic and physical AI. Well, you've got bounces in both of those names. All we have is volatility everywhere. And, you know, those trading opportunities. Oh, Randy in the house.
What's up? What's up, my boy?
I'm like,
these
like usually he doesn't come empty-handed. Appreciate it.
No coffee machine, man.
I know. It's on the fritz. The coffee machine
it's broken.
Like leaking. This morning. It's broken. There's a sign on it. It's leaking. It's not cool. It's not cool. Well, you know what Sharif just said, what are we supposed to do? You know what you're supposed to do if your coffee machine is broken? What you're supposed to do is head on over to Prop Shop Trader, because they're a multi-asset proprietary trading firm designed to remove the typical barriers that traders face. You can trade stocks without pattern day trading restrictions and no licensing requirements, while also accessing futures markets within the same environment. Prop Shop Trader offers both day trading and swing trading programs, giving traders the flexibility to manage multiple accounts and deploy different strategies. Why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Scan the QR code to unlock 60% off your first account, plus buy one, get one free. Get started today. I transition from anything to read.
Dang.
Possibly. I don't know. Maybe it can. Maybe we can.
I have the utmost faith in you.
But the Alphabet there, like, that's looking pretty good. But we were just talking about Tesla, what we were just talking about. And I still feel like the news, you know that little, the news roll thing that happens every time it gets put up. We need some different ones. Like we need one for the super chats and we need one for the news, so that we can differentiate.
So we're not misled.
I think that's what we're gonna event. Yeah. This just in.
Oracle now, okay.
Oracle expanding partnership with Google Cloud. Forget about Tesla. We'll get to Tesla later because apparently we should be looking at Oracle because remember everybody, the bottom's in on Oracle.
Oh, all right then.
Someone was you gotta love this. You gotta love this. When someone's a seller all day long on a stock and then that just clean is the dip this morning. So 187 we're at right now, 185 just held. It's still got some room to go. Oracle seems to want this 200 to 210 here. Is this a catalyst to do it? I don't know. But it's strong. It's up 3.5. I'm more of the names that we just mentioned. I feel like ASTS was going to be the one that I liked a little bit better, but now it's starting to lose VWAP. Market's looking good today, though. I can't really complain.
No, it's looking real good. I mean, Bitcoin climbing higher as well, too. I mean, a couple of us, Sharif this morning might have been the first thing he said to me, aside from good morning, was Bitcoin 80, Bitcoin 80. And then I said, you know what, let's see if we get a pullback into 43.80. And then Neil's like, I got 75, 43.75, that is. So, I mean, a nice, strong move. The thing is with IBIT, these gaps tend to get filled. So let's just be patient and see if it's a gap and go scenario. I mean, obviously with Bitcoin being 24/7, it doesn't matter, but when Wall Street's involved, you have these fills come into play. 43.38 would be a complete. Maybe you get 60 to 70%. If we're going to be really strong today, I mean, I like this. It's a pull, nice modest pullback, nothing crazy. Or you don't have like that big breakdown, and then you decide to climb a little bit higher. We can take a look at spot as well to see what we got going on over there. A little bit cleaner of a picture. We'll head over to the daily and see how we've been acting, and it's just been a nice curl over, right? So maybe we're gonna have that one of those sessions where we don't see it as often as we used to, Neil. But when you put in like that $8,000 to $10,000 session, so that'd be putting it from like 78 to 88. Yep. You would see it a lot more often a couple of years ago, and before IBIT really stepped in and it being optionable. But I would love to have that come back in. Obviously, if you're bullish on Bitcoin and you're looking to go long, nothing wrong with a 10% day.
It would be nice. I feel like a lot of that might be past us because.
Yeah.
Look, it's a double-edged sword, right? And the ETFs can be good in a lot of ways and maybe not so much in others. But you know what? Some of this downward trend it's been broken on the trend line, right? Like it's already broken the trend line if you want to put it in there on the daily. But also we're back above and holding key support. That original 74 breakout, that's what got put the test on the dip. So we finally broke this little trend of like losing the higher lows when you're making fresh bottom. And then right in here, we start holding 74. We dip, bounce 74. It's just the breakout through here is the only thing that's going to be left.
And we have this too, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the thing. You've broken the all day long trend. It's just then we've held this little 74 support. All it's next is to make the run for the 80. Maybe it's the end of the week kind of thing. I don't really know. But there's two places I'm looking. One, I'm any and all continuation on IBIT. But what I also find interesting is I was looking at ETH. Like, look at the gap up in ETH. Very consolidative day yesterday. And look what's lagging. Like, look at BMNR's gapped up, but only because it was relatively weak to ETH. So it's basically where it was at the highs yesterday when everything is significantly gapped higher. So on a relative basis, BMNR has some catching up to do and a monster gap to fill. So if there's any kind of early strength, this one could be a clean, it's like 23.20, I want to say. 23.15-ish breakout play here on BMNR. We need to see that continued strength for sure. The NASDAQ just hit 26.9. We're now up a full percentage point. Seems to be I was about to say, seems to be nothing standing in our way, but I feel like if I say that, which I just did, we're going to get some kind of weird headline, which is going to throw everything under the bus.
MSTR is up 67% off of its February low. I mean, 105 up to 175. That's how it's supposed to be, though. Like that's Sailor's intention, essentially, to have it as a leverage product. So with that being said,
you're gonna get.
You sell 50%, you're gonna drop significantly more.
That's it. Yeah, it cuts both ways if you're playing
exactly.
around with MSTR. No question about that. We'll get back up to the desk. Oh, wait a minute. No, we're not. I was gonna throw it back up to the desk, but we just got a super chat, so let's throw it on up here. Or however that goes. It is from. There it is. Bears, Bulls, Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
That'll work. I bought a call option on CAR in my paper trade account Monday for $615. This AM, it's worth
$1,000.
almost $1,100.
Yeah.
I would have sold it at $2K though. I do not have diamond hands.
All right.
Well,
I mean, in your paper account, though, why not just YOLO that?
I think the idea of a paper account or like a sim mode trading is to trade it the way that you would implement live, so that you then have like a foundational strategy. So you never want to get caught. Like if you're FOMOing and if you feel FOMO in your paper trade account, like that'll be trouble, because the idea is to just get an execution strategy that works for you and then throw that into live. Like don't worry. Like I find things like diamond hands and all this, that ends up being bad, I think, for traders trying to achieve consistency. Congratulations, you made a good trade. You used the foundation of why you took it to inform future trades and then build from that. Don't worry about FOMO. Traders get so caught up in, oh, I could have made this, I could have done that. Like that's, when you're consistently profitable, then worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
There's 0 point to, it doesn't matter if you get to the point where you celebrate that win, build on that strategy, and then go from there. I think that's way more important.
Neil, the thing is, I think, we're back up. We're doing it live, my boy.
Oh shoot! I want that graphic with like from the wire where it's like put the word out on the street. We back up.
Don't. Yeah, exactly. Don't tell anybody, man, because they're gonna. No, but I think as you gain more experience, regardless of how long it takes, I appreciate you, Randy. At some point, it's like, yeah, you have all of you talk about FOMO, but then when you've been in the game long enough, you come to a point and a realization that the fact is like, hey, there's going to be another opportunity.
Exactly.
Right? Like, so it's just like, okay, yeah, you missed out on this one, and the chances of the next one being bigger and better are there. That's just how it is. That's the nature of the beast. Like the first couple of years, whatever it may be, you're like, oh man, shoulda, coulda, woulda. What if I did this? And then you come to the realization that it's like, oh, okay, all right. At some point, there's going to be another opportunity, and the chance of it being bigger and better are there for sure. So. Homie literally lost money talking about not making real money. Oh yeah. Hey, what's up, Rivy? Rivy Millionaire up 12% on CAR now. There we go. Now we're starting to talk. Yeah, now we're talking some actual money there. But all right, let's send it back to the desk. See what these guys got.
I was reading through this. No, this is. I mean, there was a whole dump of headlines there from Google and a bunch of other companies regarding Google. This seems to be the one that's actually moving the stock, and rightfully so. So 2 new TPUs just announced from Google. Their 8th gen, which is going to be specifically designed for and aimed at training complex AI models, which essentially is just pointing directly at NVIDIA and saying, we're coming for you. Training of complex, fundamental models going forward. So Google ripping the Band-Aid off, I guess, and saying, hey, come get our chips.
And this is a bit of a curveball here, because these custom ASICs, basically, the majority of the time that they're being used for specific workflows, mostly agentic workflows. So the fact that they're throwing their hat into the training ring is a bit of a, that's new to me, right? I mean, Google was basically looking at capturing that part of the market and left that to NVIDIA. NVIDIA still has that sort of Swiss Army knife kind of GPU.
Does it all. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So Joseph and I were talking about this on the midday, and we were talking about whether NVIDIA has the best GPU, the chips, let's call them chips, in the business right now for AI. And when I did my research, it's actually quite interesting, because a lot of these agentic workflows, like you were just talking with me off camera, you're creating new, novel agentic workflows specifically tailored to what you want to do. And so the chips have to be designed, the custom ASICs have to be designed for that specific workflow. But what if you evolve? What if you move on to the next thing? Do you have to start designing another custom ASICs for that new workflow? That's where NVIDIA really does shine, because they can do everything.
I mean, yes and no. It's I mean, as you and I have experienced many, many times, you know, you get something to a point where it's like, okay, it's functional, it's doing the thing.
Right.
But then for whatever reason, next Monday you come in and it's completely gone in a different direction.
You mean like every morning with ChatGPT,
no,
Brenda?
But you know what I mean, right? Like it's not perfect yet,
Yes.
is the point. But I mean, we're heading in the right direction. So, I mean, this market move seems to be mostly Google at this point. That's just taking the entire futures on its back and lifting the market, because I haven't seen really anything else doing anything spectacular. Boeing, not necessarily spectacular, but still pushing highs here right now, 227, 228 coming into play. Better than expected here for BA, especially on the manufacturing side of things. So, I mean, the demand, we all know, guys, is still very much there for air travel and ticketing specifically. But as it's been with Boeing forever and ever and ever, it's how many can they get out the door at the end of the year?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. We got a headline, I think, last month, I want to say, maybe early this month. They were hiring a bunch of new employees at one of their facilities, specifically for the purpose of being able to chug more of these out. I think that they were basically gauging 37,800s, whatever that version is, per month. I think they do want to bump that up to the mid-40s. Would be interesting, obviously, because there's no shortage in demand, man.
No.
It's always about how much they can put out.
Yeah, and I mean, this comes at a time when we were talking about last week, some of the airlines, you know, if it's a common route, something they do on a daily basis, you know, 3 or 4 times, they're going from 3 or 4 flights down to 2, 1 or 2 flights, just to save on some of the jet fuel costs. But
have you seen some of the what are they calling it? Fuel surcharges now. Some of these airlines are charging on top of it. So I was reading United's, and they basically almost passed off the entire increase in fuel to the customer through these fuel surcharges.
It's only going to get worse.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I have to go to Ottawa this weekend, and I was looking at I mean, Toronto Island to Ottawa is barely a 60-minute flight. Like it's 55 minutes. It would have been almost $900. Round trip.
Insane. Okay, you got to just take the train, Brenda. You're going to pay 150.
Yeah. It's and you can literally take business class on the train for 50% of the cost of that plane ticket.
My goodness.
My eyes jumped out of my head. But anyways, Boeing. Neil, thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, like, business class on the train is great. As long as you don't get there and there's a ridiculous snowstorm and then you have to have a 6-hour delay on the way back on the train. That was a pain in the butt for me the last time I took one. But it's crazy prices. But you know what? There's something I like about Boeing here. I know it's not a blowout report. They're getting close to profitability on an EPS basis. It got close to it, and maybe it'll be next quarter. I feel like you're saying that every quarter. But the last week, every time it was underneath 220, there was a buyer. And I'll show you in a second. But that's the 200 period and the 50 period kind of aligning here. And every single time it was under 200 buys. Drops like a rock. I mean, a lot of things drop like a rock on last Thursday, but drops like a rock, and then under 220, buyers step up. Buyers step up. You're either consolidating or you're bouncing heavily when it was in that range, and that was going into the earnings. So I think this actually looks pretty bullish to me, and especially if you go out a little bit further and start looking at this. You start looking at this on the weekly, and I have some levels that I need to get rid of. Probably not as important. Yeah, who cares where I have them in there? Probably old stuff. But the higher lows from the bottom, pretty distinct, and a couple of big turnarounds. And higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now post earnings. If you make another higher high, I think that can take you into the 270 level. So I really do like the look of Boeing here. I feel like by the time they go EPS positive, at that point, you'll be talking about 300, so you got to kind of lead it, or as Canadians are supposed to say, you got to skate where the puck is going. How do you like that for a hockey analogy there, Joe? We're going to go to Joe for some options. Information, which probably won't include Boeing, is my guess.
It's a good guess, Neil. No Boeing today. A lot of talk about this one specific name, the headliner in the earnings reports this evening, and we're going to kick things off with Tesla, and then we're going to end some things with Tesla as well. All right, guys, speaking of, let's take a look at this $400 mark, guys. Open interest sitting around 20,000 contracts there, still currently open, expiring this Friday. Volume 25,000 open and closed. That's I mean, relatively speaking, you can see an increase within the volatility. With that being said, the implied at-the-money IV sitting around 80.7%, and your delta as well, too, sitting around that $33 metric, with your gamma around 0.01. But one thing that I want us to take a look at here is after the stock broke out, it breached that downwards channel. You have days where you're sitting on the backside of it. What we have here is, once again, is where the real appreciation comes from in some of these options contracts. Now, we break in a span of a couple of trading sessions, 3 days to be exact, you get a 646% gain within that breakout on that specific contract. Now, you would have to be in it significantly earlier before the actual breakout day, but that's where those substantial returns come from. Now, let's talk some strategy here, guys. Now, leading into earnings, there's a couple ways that we can play them, and we're going to kick things off. We talked about the strangle before, and that's why we have the exact same strike price, $390, $390. Now, this can change leading into the close, right? So the objective is to essentially buy an at-the-money call and buy an at-the-money put for your straddle. Now, as for your straddle, guys, you're going to want it to exceed the expected move. That is the objective. If it stays within, then the chances of you losing premium to day-by-day volatility decay is there, including theta. So 2 different metrics there, guys. But one thing that we want to point out here is that our ask, we're paying $9.75. And on the put side, a little bit more expensive, $13.20, which is going to lead us to our risk profile. Our risk profile in a total going to cost us $2,300 for the combination of both of these contracts. Whether you don't know it's going to go up or down, but you have the hunch or you believe within your thesis that you are going to exceed the expected move, the straddle is one strategy you can look at. But also one thing that we want to look at is our POP, our probability of profit, sitting around 42% there, guys. So a little bit cool. All right. Now, we may think this is a little bit too expensive. I want to reduce my costs, but I want to remain within the same style of trading. Perfect. That is when we are going to fall into our strangle. Okay, so there is a slight difference between the straddle, which would be an at-the-money call, and an at-the-money put. But with our strangle, we can have an offset between our calls and our puts. For example, now what we can do to reduce our cost as well too is we just lift our call strike a little bit higher, decreasing the premium paid, and then we can move our put a little bit lower to decrease the premium paid as well. But essentially the same thing. When we get into our risk profile, you'll see that some of the metrics are identical. So going from $900 down to $695, and then going from $1,300 down to $1,000, $10.55. Now, the strike prices are different. They are slightly out of the money, and that is the objective. But one thing that we will take a look at is our probability of profit. It doesn't change very much. 1%. 42% is what we're looking at on the straddle, 41% on the strangle. But this contract combination is essentially going to cost us $600 less, all right? So that's the difference between buying something that's at the money, your straddle, or buying something slightly out of the money on both sides. Now, as for our risk profile, guys, we don't have very much time on these contracts. You would want to push them out a little bit longer, but as for these specific combinations, what you have here is if Tesla goes climbs up to $475, you can see your profit being around $9,000 there. And if it drops down to $300, it's the exact same thing. But if you stay within this range here, you're going to lose money. The objective on both of these strategies is to exceed your expected move. If they don't, then it's best to close those positions and wait for another report. Let's send it back to Neil.
Thank you very much, Joe. You can take a very, let's just say, thoughtful, meaningful, and risk-considerate approach to generating a strategy such as Joe was talking about there. Or you could close your eyes, hunt for your buy key, hope that you find it, and just punch along on car. No, I'm just joking. No, always good for me. It just seems that way. No, you should actually have proper analysis. And what I love about it is a lot of good feedback in the chat. Don't hesitate I mean, it's usually, what do we do this, 8:15 to 8:30 in the morning. So oftentimes you'll be able to, if you want to, after the end of the day, for the viewers out there, if you feel like it goes over your head, it goes a little bit too fast, then just replay it on the way home.
Yeah.
And go over it a second time or a third time if you need to. I think it's pretty valuable information there. It is 8:30, but we also have, it's a Wednesday, so we have a special guest. And the best part about it, Luis here to talk about some small caps. Ooh. But you know what? Luis is also an honorary member of the Bald Brotherhood. We had Brian Shannon yesterday, got myself, we got Joe, we got Luis in that. You can laugh all you want, Sharif.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
there
wow.
Oh, shoot. Was he on screen?
Yeah, well, he was
on screen. What up, Luis? That's what I'm talking about. Bring it on in. That's our boy.
It's just
deal with it. You're outnumbered now, Sharif.
It's just getting bigger.
Deal with it. The Bald Brotherhood is here, and it's not going anywhere. Let's talk to Luis at the desk.
I don't even know how to follow that up. Let's just bring him in and talk.
Just tell me if you add Sean into the group.
Yeah. He might be a little more begrudgingly in the group, but we'll get his take maybe on Monday. Hi, Luis. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you. I mean, nothing is happening, obviously, in small cap world, as there never is. So I don't know. Where do you want to start here? I mean, there's been tons and tons to watch here the past couple of days. I saw a couple of people mentioning this one, just to throw it out there right off the bat. KYTX went and then came back already. It kind of looks like something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, listen, I have a trader from Argentina who said it always happen the same when you are day trading, and when it happens the opposite, it always happens as well. So, it's like every day is new, but every day it looks like the same, So they fool you, you're right, and they fool you again. So it's all the same. That's why it's so challenging, this work.
But it's also good in that sense. If you're seeing things over and over and over again that work, then that's what matters, right? So what do you think here? KYTX, any ideas?
No, we haven't traded this so far. We are narrowing down to 4 or 5 tickers today. First of all, we are going to check a couple of Chinese nano-flow tickers. There will be HCAI and ELPW. This one was very interesting pre-market. It was moving up very sharp, and we found some resistance here. First of all, it failed new highs on this 13, 14 level. And if we go back, we see there an important resistance from previous days. Okay, you forget about this crazy week, but as I think was Neil talking about this, sometimes the resistance is not there, but it's where the most volume was traded, even though we saw this fake breakout, most of the volume was traded here. So we consider this as a resistance. So we could have short this one against that resistance and mainly after it failed highs. If you're not brave enough to go short there, you had a nice setup here when it broke B1. Look, this was very, very crazy, moving up over 100%, but even though it looks a little bit late, in this kind of stocks, it's better to be late than early, because the movement down can be very, very sharp as well. You go short here on around $12, you are almost $4 in the morning right now. And the other one was the other Chinese ELPW. We have a history on this one and pump and dump, we used to call it. It pumped from 160 to 250, fail highs here, fade VWAP here, probably is an all-day fade.
All right, we went back to 2021, 2022 at the end of last week and dug out BlackBerry and dug out all these squeeze names and got them going again. Give me your thoughts here on this trade. I mean, it's heavily on the short side based, but these things aren't done yet, clearly.
Yeah, they aren't done. It's not our kind of setup because it's not a small cap. You have to take into account it's a higher float and all the fundamentals behind. So it's more pure technical analysis here. It won't follow the microstructure of the small cap. Probably we could talk about car as well. It's another kind of setup. Of course, I won't go long on this one for a swing or a mid-turn. I would probably go short, but only when you have a nice setup with a tight stop. Could be today, you short here, you're only 10, 15, 20 cents out of your stop loss and a lot of way to go down, but it seems strong yet with the overall market as well.
We've seen this in the past, obviously, and it feels like a movie that you've watched before. And the key here for some of these, I mean, you mentioned car. I mean, we're almost at $800 here this morning for car. When this does start to unravel and when this does start to come back in.
This is a very interesting topic. I think Twitter X is burning with this ticker. Everyone is talking about a few considerations here. First of all, a lot of people talk about it didn't become parabolic yet. It haven't gap up like aggressively, because if you see in daily, yesterday I think was the first gap up. So all the movement up was without gapping up. Only yesterday, a very, very tight gap up. And also some people talking about we're waiting for the highest volume spike to go short and blah, blah, blah. All these things. You can wait for the gap up. You can wait for the parabolic. Some people are waiting for the $1,000 round number now. Yesterday, I had to say a lot of traders, big traders, lost huge money on this one because it really looked like was going to fail the gap up and was going to go down. We saw even some halt downs and unbelievable, it halt down like $70 down, halt down and open all the way up. So very strange movement. What I try to think here, look, this is not my kind of setup. And very important, if I try once or twice and it doesn't work out, for the third time, how big I have to trade to make it back the two of those attempts, So it's not a very good risk-reward winning ratio. If I miss the first movement or the second one and I take a loss one and twice, how big I'm gonna take the third trade? And if I'm wrong, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna take a fourth attempt, So it's very, very tricky risk-reward and winning ratio combination. It is true that if you're right, it has a lot of potential. They can go down for $500, $400, $300 in a couple of days.
If we zoom out a little bit here, and I want to talk a little bit on the technical side with this trade, because it is going to be absolutely epic whenever it does come, but understanding the technicals behind it and what you need to see first is going to be the key. When we talk about those, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 range of stocks that do this type of thing on a daily basis, typically come back down the same day. I mean, we talk about maybe trading below VWAP. We talk about maybe breaking an uptrend, and visibly, the buyers have clearly given up. In this case, because it's been such a ramp up, is it going to be almost like a couple of days down before you start to get interested?
Yeah, because it's very difficult because with the spread, and the risk you are taking, it's very difficult to trade. I will wait for an aggressive gap up, and after the open, probably a last squeeze short, and then all the way down. But you're gonna have to hold against you probably $30, $50, $100 maybe against you before it works. So it's very tricky to jump in the trade. The spread is huge, so the possible loss you have to hold is very big. So I will wait for a last huge gap up, a lot of volume in the opening, and some confirmation. Probably you will have to forget about VWAP and all these things. Maybe some very nice round number where you can see the big players are closing positions, this kind of tape reading maybe will help as well.
All right, let's get down to what we're looking at here this morning. I mean, you mentioned a couple going into the open. What's top of your mind here for today?
A couple more. We talk about these two nanoflow Chinese, and we're looking at a couple of more. It's AGPU, as you can see, it's moving out 140%. We took some shorts. I'm going to show you here. We took some shorts on this one when it failed the new highs here. Let me zoom it. We took a nice shorts here. Look for the VWAP. When I saw this VWAP holding, I reversed my position to long. Took a nice long here about the VWAP, and then short against these pre-market highs. Now they are fighting shorts, bias, and long bias. We are fighting here. If you lose VWAP, we will see all the way down. But what if it opens, hold VWAP, lower volume, maybe it will do a reclaim. Look, when the 1450 breaks, we have no resistance. So it's very, very, very difficult to short this front side. So if it breaks 14, well, just don't trade short front side on this one because it's very, very tricky. But if you see now it's losing VWAP, looks like it's losing VWAP, so you can go short here with a very tight stop, $12, $12.50. This is one of the tickers we are looking. And the other one is actually, it's good because I will explain a new setup that I think we have never talked about. It's a Canadian company, and this kind of setup, we call it the third red day long pullback. Okay, let's go into it. We have a very, very nice movement up, as you can see in this stock. It's a Canadian company. As I say, it's from $7.50 to $42 in a few days. And then you wait, it will go retrace for a few days. And this is why it's called the third red day long pullback. We have the movement up, then we have 3 red days. And you know what happened today? It popped up. You go like 5 minutes, you will see. There you go. You have the 3 red days long pullback, and if you long this pre-market from 23 already to $28, it's called again third red day long pullback. Was a very nice trade as well. This one.
Great stuff, Luis. Always good input. Back with the guys at 1 p.m. on the midday show today. We'll see you then. Thanks for this.
See you later, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you, Luis. Looking forward to more conversation this afternoon. Make sure you guys join us on the midday show at 1 o'clock today. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. Zscaler going to be at the top of the list, going from an overweight to an equal weight by Morgan Stanley. They're also reducing their price to $155 from $200. Now, Hertz also on the downgrade side of things, still positive this morning, a little bit under 2%, but going from a neutral to a sell with a $5 price target. And then we have XPeng here, guys, also on the downgrade list. Neutral weight to an underweight with a Hong Kong $59, all right? BNP Paribas giving them that downgrade. Now, GitLab also on the downgrade side of things, 1.5% to the upside, going from a buy to a neutral weight, but price target getting slashed in half by B of A. Now, moving forward, let's take a look at some of the upgrades. United Health Group going to be at the top of the list. You're up about 0.6%, going from a hold to a buy with a $400 price target. Twilio also getting the nod at up 6% here today, going to be the largest out of all of the upgrades. Buy rating with a price target increase from $100 up to $190 by B of A once again. And we also have Airbnb getting the audio up 2.4% equal weight to overweight and a price target of $178 by Wells Fargo. Interactive Brokers reporting after the bell yesterday, guys. Took a slide on the report, but starting to slowly recover. Europe 0.46%, but a price target increase to $88 from $80. Let's send it back to Neil.
Thank you, Joe. And what's interesting, I saw on the downgrade side of that, you got Hertz. You know what? Like, everyone's talking about Avis and when's it going to be a fade and looking for the short trade when it seemed like it was a short. And notice how Louie said sort of the same thing we were talking about. Like, you could see that yesterday, clearly some people got caught off guard. Like, a lot of momentum looking like it was a short and looking like it was a turnaround, and then it just didn't end up happening. Well, Hertz, up on sympathy, goes right into some resistance, and it legit turned around. You know, it did make a top. It did trend down almost all of the day. And, you know, late in the day, I guess it caught a little bit of a dead cat bounce. But this would be an interesting way to sort of play it. If it were to get dragged up again by Avis, you've got a hard top to work off of. And there is no fundamental, like, to my knowledge, there's no two firms that have soaked up 82% of the available float of Hertz. So there's no structural reason for it to get out of hand if were it to break higher. So if it gets dragged up again, this would be the play. One of the things that I'm a fan of, if there's something like insane or crazy or meme-ish or that feels broken that's going on, whether it was GameStop, whether it was at one point it was DWAC, formerly DJT when it was DWAC, well, currently with Avis, if you can find something that is moving on sympathy, which doesn't have the structural or fundamental reason to be doing at all what's happening, it can be easier to play the reversion on that, right? Like if you see Hertz fly too far to the upside, it doesn't make sense. It'll be at a resistance spot. The slightest pullback in Avis, and you smash the short on Hertz. And it just comes down to being able to time it better and have better risk risk parameters on the trade, which is why I tend to gravitate towards. I'm going to have that on the side burner as Hertz tried to break $800.
Louie is stating in the chat as well, too, one of the top retail traders yesterday lost $250,000 on car.
That's what I'm saying. We talked about this. I said there were whales that do this yesterday. And we're like, we don't believe you. This is all just retail. It's not. There are very large traders. There are even some hedges that this is what they do. Now, the hedges can stay short this probably a little bit if they are
longer,
right? Like I think certainly they could, but remember, you don't know. Like if 800 doesn't break, then maybe 750 is it. I don't know. This might be the top. If it never gets to that 1,000 level, then people will still be talking about this as a potential top. There's a bit of a pullback that just happened in the market. It's nothing crazy. Like where the Qs made the highs and then came back in through VWAP. There is no particular headline or anything that I was able to see to cause it, but you are starting to gravitate back higher up here on USO. So I think we're still working in this realm of, market go down, oil go up. The level, yesterday, the level for me was 123 on USO. Kind of like once you're breaking above that, I favor the short side as a trade. Yesterday, silver was my favorite there. And then when you're catching bounces off of it, that's where the market reverses. I think that level today for USO is, let's call it pretty obviously around the 129. I'm thinking the same thing. Like if USO gets up to 129, that kind of a curl gives like a base for the longs. And if it breaks above, the market looks like a short to me.
I like where IBIT's sitting right now. So that's going to be my primary trader here today as it's popping 44.40. But we were south of the volume weighted average price. I like that leading into the open. So, I mean, that's going to be number one on our watch list here today. We have a couple other ones. Poet starting to move, but breaking down. So we can remove that one.
Poet.
Yeah. Poet didn't even know it there, Neil. But at the end of the day, 1190. It breached VWAP, so we'll avoid that one. But Google and NVDA could potentially be on the radar as well. Google still climbing higher, 338. We talked about this. This was it came in second place, I believe, right? We thought Amazon was going to hit all-time high. I don't think necessarily today is going to be the case where Google hits all-time high, but you never know. This thing can start to squeeze. You get a couple of headlines, and next thing you know, you're just right back to where you were, only a half percentage point, and then it's a gap up away. So we're not far from that level. I think it's like 1.2% or something, like 3% off of that high on Google. So yeah, it's not bad, man. Google probably going to be that one. Amazon fell back a little bit yesterday, but starting to climb. So that's going to be a key pivot for it at 257. And then we had Broadcom on that list as well. Broadcom might win. This is what we're talking about. You're only down 1.25 here, Neil, off of that all-time high. Respectively, you have Google down 3% and NVDA down a little bit more. So watch out for what Broadcom can do in the next coming sessions. So I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the week you see an all-time high in Broadcom.
And we have a super chat. It's golf franchise. Well, it's a little easier to say that it's golf weather. Most places, I think we're getting golf weather today, I think. POWI, Power Integrations, you're up 17% on it. You think you still have another 20 points up to go. Thoughts? Look at the 3-month chart trend trader here. So you ask, you shall receive. Let me just, I don't want to take this chart out. I want to leave it in and type in POWI is what I want to do. And you wanted a 3-month. Let's see what the 3-month says, everybody. Trend break. Yeah. Well, sometimes, like in my head, I'm thinking, okay, it's probably just another one of those like up and to the right kind of deals, and it's like a blue sky setup. No, this is very clearly a big time trend break. So if you, on this particular time frame, the trend broke like in the middle of last month. Like I'd probably look at a 1 month where you saw the trend break, but that 50 period, this is the breakout. You're saying another 20% to go. That seems a little arbitrary because I feel like you're putting it into this range. It's not incredibly obvious why you'd say 80 on a 3. My guess is if I do put it to a monthly chart, you probably see something a little bit more distinct. I don't even think it does. Like the next leg is breaking the 50 here, and I don't think there's anything obvious that says that 80 is a level more so than 90 to 95. But yeah, I love a trend break because what can happen when the market gets to the highs is I say like passing the baton, where like you get a bunch of names that are obviously pressing into the tops, maybe find some resistance, getting choppy in earnings because we're already priced to perfection, all that kind of good stuff, but the market's feeling bullish. And then you get a bunch of other stuff that's breaking the downtrend that goes higher. We talked about things like Robinhood and SoFi that were beaten up. It's just things that were trending down that join the move. So when you have one, I believe, yeah, let it ride. And this just happens to be another good one there. USO, unfortunately. I mean, I say unfortunately, but there's people that are long energy here. So I guess if you're long energy, then fortunately for you, this is about to go back into those afternoon highs. Remember, we went parabolic into this 29 yesterday. Yeah. So like there wasn't, like it's not a really good test of a level if you go there so freakishly strong, because like the chance that it reverts anyways, then you got the headline of the extension of the ceasefire, like all that kind of stuff. And when we got up to 129, but a break of this would not be good for the market, and it looks like we're headed for a test here as USO is trying to go green.
Yeah, I think like that's the narrative, right? Like we always have to keep USO in the corner of our eye, right? Essentially just an eye on it, because if it's going to continue to climb higher, then the chances of tech stocks showing that relative strength are going to be relatively low. So that's something we'll keep our eye on. I mean, I was talking about the mega names this morning, but we're going to hyper-focus on IBIT, dip by into 3380s potentially. That a boy Joey says Chris Onion. That's it, my favorite vegetable. Aside from that, man, onion's favorite vegetable. You're up 4.3%.
Onions are your favorite vegetable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love onions.
On everything, man.
Not every... My wife hates onions.
Really?
She's not a big
Dude, okay, so hear me out. This is my go-to weekend breakfast, okay? So you get a piece of sourdough with some turkey bacon, right? I prefer turkey bacon over thing, and then a fried egg with a little bit of marbled cheese sprinkled in there. But you saute the onions within that turkey bacon, the little bit of grease that it has, and you flatten that out. You make a nice sandy. Saturday and Sunday, that's my go-to thing. Just loaded up with and headline. All right, Iranian foreign minister spokesman, the naval blockade on Iran ports is still in place, and it is an aggressive measure. This is what I was saying yesterday.
That's the reason we have this little spike.
Yeah.
Upside.
So
we're still going headline to headline, and this just sort of is what it is. If you put we had 5 of these that actually caused some kind of a move in oil futures in yesterday's trade. So if you had the over/under at 4.5, which is I guess where you'd set it, we've already had 1 for today. I don't think.
Oh, really? Did we already? What was
our? No, to me that one counts. We.
What was our over/under on?
You said 4.5.
4.5, right? Okay, so we got 1.
We got 1.
I didn't see anything in Bitcoin. So did it reflect in the NASDAQ?
Well, here's actually the funny thing. The NASDAQ did move.
Okay.
But what I like about, because I got IBIT on my list as well. I think it's hard not to with the gap up and slightly some BMNR. IBIT held steady, or Bitcoin held steady, and just went sideways through all this. Like, it wasn't pressing the highs. It didn't really push down when we saw oil go up. And we've had this happen before. There's been a couple of days of dislocation where you've had like dislocative moments in Bitcoin where it can be a little bit relatively strong regardless of what's going on in the overall market. And I think that can be a very good sign. Like, I'm just sort of pointing out, like on the 17th, we weren't pressing new highs, but Bitcoin was gapping and breaking. Fair. And the NASDAQ was strong, but it was holding the top, whereas you had Bitcoin, which was sort of extending the move, just to give you an idea there. So I think there's some relative strength that you want to play off of, certainly. In crypto in general, like I don't want to single out, I don't think you should be singling out Bitcoin. Like there's ETH, it's gapped up as well. It's holding a lot of that range, even with that pullback. I would argue it's almost even stronger right now than BTC. So yeah, you want to be able to pay attention to that. Oh, TNT just put in the chat, Intel short. Yeah, I know, it's going early. This is not the Intel short that I was thinking of. Like yesterday, pop and fade, and I didn't short it till later. I was trying to go long for continuation yesterday and didn't short it until late to try to make back what I lost in the morning. Didn't make it all back. I think I made like 2/3 of what I lost back. But it's this area here. Intel doesn't report till tomorrow night after the close. Tonight we get IBM, Tesla, and I'm forgetting somebody. But it's about 68 to 69 where they had a huge fail. Just a monster reversal candle. So if this is a pop and fade setup to me. Like you've got the prior day high, which can set a trap for the longs, and then you get a little pop into this 68.5 to 69 area on Intel. and then I would go short hunting on that bad boy.
Speaking of, so you're saying yesterday you almost regained all of the losses on that one? Okay, yeah. So what I was gonna get out there, what I wanted to lead is that I traded 5 names yesterday. 3 of them were red, 2 of them were green, but my smallest green was larger than my largest loss.
And that's See, that's what
does it always work that way? No, but that's essentially the objective, right? So essentially, I had more red names, but the 2 names that I was green on were more and significantly more than what my red ones were.
I'm a firm believer in that, because like I'll tend to be in more like. Same setups, maybe like one and done trade, but more individual names I will trade on the day. So if I trade 6 names, if I'm 2 for 6, I feel like I should be flat or better.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm 3 for 6, I should be green. If I'm, you know what I mean? Like if you're that it's the opposite. I think hurts some traders. Like you'll trade 3 or 4 names, you'll be up on 3 out of 4, but like then that 1/4 for I've seen it too many times. Like that 1/4, it just screws you.
Yeah.
And ultimately. One of my favorite lines is okay to be wrong, it's not okay to stay wrong.
Bang.
That's important because what ends up happening and why that doesn't work out for a lot of traders is like that one that they're wrong on, they'll just stay wrong on it and you'll have like 2 or 3 wins and that one loss just takes the cake. Eventually you gotta get, like if I had stayed stubborn on Intel, then that's exactly what would have happened to me yesterday because I was looking for that continuation trade to push higher and I was long in the morning. If I stay long, it just gets nastier, eventually short it. I did not get enough on the actual flush to make up for 2 losers in the morning, but that is what it is. And by the way, just going over, I know we had that pullback. Ooh, I got a bad wick on the Google chart. Let's go to 3. When you look at that little pullback that we just had in the futures, corresponding with that push up in USO, well, Alphabet held the gain. So Alphabet was the strongest of the mag, I believe, I want to say, for most of them, not percentage-wise necessarily, but in terms of the push up, it's still holding the line here. Like it's got the same support it did before USO moved at about 337.5. So that gives it a little bit of relative strength here on Google. Worth watching, at least for now. And I just saw another thing. I was going to go back to the desk. We have a couple minutes.
Yeah, we can ramble on a little bit more.
Yeah, so I actually didn't have silver on the note today.
Okay.
Like the last couple of days, it's been short silver. Short any pops on silver. Like look at you had the head and shoulders type rejection. So it was a short into the shoulder on Monday, I guess that would be. And then yesterday, it was the consolidation breakdown. Now I didn't really see it coming completely flushing through and having the ridiculous downtrend it did, but it's setting up again. It's relatively weak again. And then all of a sudden you've got this 70, 80, let's just call it $70.80 here on SLV with a prior flush where it flat bottom broke. Now that's resistance. So that gives me one place to work off of. That isn't all the way up here at 71.80. So actually there's a couple of places that I'll look for the fade. 70.80 and then 71.80 on SLV, relatively weak. Here. I mean,
we've been going on about Bitcoin here, but we're gonna stick with this plan here today. You can see we got the options chain starting to pull up there, but those are mad expired on there, Neil. But anyways, aside from that, as long as we continuously hover around the volume weighted average price and we don't just go absolutely, I'm not gonna say parabolic, but continue to grind higher, because at some point you'll get that move back into VWAP. So as long as we hang around this neck of the woods, we hold that support level as well. I like our chances for that continuation to the long side here. Potential breakout day in Bitcoin. MSTR up 60% off of the lows. So let's get this Bitcoin train rolling to see if we can eventually start to head in towards some higher levels. Around that $48 mark would put us probably around the mid 80s, I think, at that point. So 47.94. We're still down substantially. Like, I mean, it's all fun and games. Like, we love the fact that it's technically almost in a bull market there, Neil. 2% off of that mark, because if we're going by the metric in which we were talking about the other day, 20% off at the lows, but yet the stock is still down 35% off of the highs, it's like, okay, what are we actually talking about here? But nonetheless, you're down 35%. There's a long road to hoe in order for this asset class to recover. We're only in year 2. Like, I mean, this is around a couple of weeks ago, around this neck of the woods is when we went through that previous halving cycle, right? That was the most latest one. Don't even get us started about that. But anyways, aside,
You get us started.
But what I'm getting at here is essentially is that typically that final year is more bullish for Bitcoin leading into the previous one. I think you're receiving 3.15 Bitcoin per block rewarded on the chain. That's going to be cut in half to 1.7 or something a little bit lower than that, 1.3 or something along those lines. So as long as we continue on that path and the scarcity remains, which essentially that's how the technology is has been built, then I think maybe, I don't know, see, my big question is it Saylor moving the price right now because he's just continuously buying it, like 38,000 of them? I don't know. Does it really matter at the end of the day? It's very true.
It doesn't matter how much Saylor is affecting the price. That's something we'll think about at 50. But let's get that. The super chat was what we think about Robinhood. So Robinhood invested $75 million into OpenAI. Whether or not that's what you want to focus on today, or you could focus on the fact that it's in a relief rally, you could focus on the fact that Bitcoin is at 78K and is looking strong. So all of that, I think, lends some strength to Robinhood. Now, the only reason Robinhood did not make the note today is well, I mean, I know you can look at it right now. It is the definition of diddling in the middle. Right? I love this consolidation. I love this consolidation higher because I think that's generally speaking a good thing when you go sideways. That's great. Like consolidation above prior resistance, broke the trend, broke the 50-period. All that's well and good. If we're not going to get a chance to dip by the lows or maybe work into a breakout of the highs, I could be convinced. Like if you take out 90.5 and all of a sudden the market looks a little stronger than it is at this particular moment under VWAP, and I don't have like a Bitcoin or BMNR trade that looks any good, like maybe you work along into that high at some point, but it's right in the middle of the range. I'd be much more interested if it would give you something at the edges there in Hood. But I like it on the daily. I think the continuation is good. Unless if we reverse, lose 74K on BTC, I think that could be a bit of a problem here, and maybe you'd revisit some of those lows. But without that happening, I feel pretty good about this. I'm kind of neutral as to what I think about them investing in OpenAI.
Yeah.
I don't think that's that big of a story.
I don't know. It's same. I think there's just so much more potential within this name. To be honest with you, like as soon as, if we get to the tokenization of equities, they're at the forefront of that. They're already doing it in the private sector, but only have access in Europe. So, I mean, there's so much going on, and I want the decoupling from Bitcoin because I think Robinhood is so much more than that. Right.
Well, this could be part of that. Like, let's be real for a second. You're investing $75 million in OpenAI,
exactly.
knowing full well that you want to have as much involvement in the IPO as possible when it comes to market.
Absolutely.
So I would imagine those two things are not unrelated, but we have to wait for OpenAI to come out. We know that this is going to be a big deal.
Exactly.
But, you know, it's already 9:02.
Oh, snap.
We got to get into our free watch list, everybody, which has a few names on it, including one that reports tonight, I'm pretty sure. I already saw it. It is on there. You guys should have already seen it, too. Let's get up to the desk, talk some futures, and get into that watch list.
All right, guys, 704.13 is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're already looking good this morning. Not quite at all-time highs, but we're up more than 0.5%. All-time highs takes us up into that 711, 712 area. But look how well we defended that closing print. So that 705 area, we're going to talk about as that first level of support. Again, if we sell off for whatever reason, we're looking at that 700 area where we consolidated for about a couple of days as support level 2. If we start moving up, Brenda, we're at basically 708 right now. We're going to say all-time highs again, 710 to 711 as that first area of resistance. If we clear it, well, it's a blue sky setup. Your guess is as good as mine.
We just keep talking about all-time highs with everything. Down below in the description right now, second link will get you to the sign-up page. If you haven't done so yet, grab the watch list. It's free. We just do your homework for you, and then you come hang out at 8 a.m. every single morning. We get ready for the open. Let's talk about a few things here. Obviously going to be a busy day. Tesla to come after the close tonight. We have a whole bunch of earnings. We'll bring that to you live as well. Make sure you stick around, plan some time. We'll be here late tonight. USO back to the upside here this morning. What a wild end of the day it was yesterday, back and forth on, I mean, they were close, they weren't close, there was a deal, there wasn't a deal, there was an extension of the ceasefire, and then Trump comes out and says, I don't even want to extend the ceasefire, and then lo and behold, now we have an extension of the ceasefire.
Well, it's because Pakistan asked very nicely, Brendo. No, I'm kidding, of course. No, but what we saw yesterday was kind of confirmation about what we've been talking about here on this desk. There is no unified consensus in Iran when you're looking at, the powers that be there about how they want to approach this. And that's exactly what President Trump said yesterday in his Truth Social tweet. He's like, when they get their things together, when they figure out exactly what kind of deal they want to strike, we'll be here. But we're going to remain, with the naval blockade, which is obviously pressuring them economically. But the strait remains closed. And as we saw this morning, a couple of ships got fired upon. Now I'm seeing some more things coming in here on X about Israeli ships that have been seized in the strait. Yeah. So obviously tensions continue, and the price is
not all good yet.
Exactly.
It's definitely not all good yet. That being said, if you just rip through some of the actual producers, not really doing anything, guys. It's all about oil itself.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, call me, man.
So 129 USO is where I'm watching. Like, I'm not going to use this to focus on trading USO, but I'm going to use it kind of like yesterday with 123, right? Like when we broke, once you broke out 123, that was the signal. Okay, now you got to start looking short. Yeah. And that's what got me away from trying to work into a long, flipping into a short, flipped into BM&R to the short side. It's just like I'm going to use that. Right, so today that'll be the 129 level, and to the extent that we can maybe pull back off of that level, like bounce in, or play into it and bounce down, or reject it, I guess is a better word to use. Then I would look for continuation on longs. Like we're going to talk some Palantir. Okay, that's one that I kind of liked to the long side today. We already talked about IBIT there, and name that I already immediately like short was going to be Intel. So if I find us breaking out, then, well, I know where I want to go. It'll be to the south side. But it's that 129 on USO we focus on. And then the other side is, remember, we could be pretty headline driven. And it was all negative up until late in the day. Most of the headlines, negative for oil, positive for the market. Today, we're already 0 for 1 in the other direction. So you got to keep your ear to the ground. You're in the right spot. Adair will be on the desk, and we always have somebody on the desk. We're listening in on our ears as well. There's just nothing you can do about it. Like sometimes you might be sitting in a trade that's working, and then you get trailed out because there's a crazy random headline, and then you get a few seconds or a few minutes to decide, hey, is there any follow through? If no, maybe you just have to jump back into your trade if you happen to have tight stops, and that's just going to be par for the course.
Yeah, I mean, we experienced that yesterday. I was talking about how on NVDA we were taking the trade, and sure enough, you're nicely in the money, and then boom, all of a sudden you have that headline step in. All of those unrealized gains essentially gone. So you got to be patient and wait for something to set up again, or just go with the flow. I mean, be prepared. We were talking about this yesterday with Brian Shannon. Size down a little bit. I almost can guarantee, could I be wrong? Absolutely. But you're going to see that headline sensitivity step into the market. It's going to be an additional back and forth. Oh, the blockade is going to be removed. No, it's not. Okay, we're going to get the deal done. Oh, maybe the extension's not as long as we're going to say it, as we're saying it is. Whatever it may be, you just have to be prepared that in regards to the correlation between USO and the NASDAQ, you will see some volatility spikes. It will make you frustrated, but maybe you can find something that's moving outside of that. I mean, Bitcoin, I'm going to mention it one more time here. Bitcoin is going to be my primary stock here today, 4.42 via IBIT. So let's see if we can get somewhat of a pullback and find something that's not necessarily correlated. Or go into Sharif's world and Luis Barbados' world is small caps where you don't necessarily have the effects of the headline sensitivity. All right, let's send it back. Let's talk some Palantir.
Yet another deal. U.S. government, USDA, meanwhile, coming through with $300 million for farmers on the back, or modernizing farming for Palantir. I think we actually talked about it on the show going back to last year at some point, but I saw a video about a new piece of technology that they started using in farming. I think it was in Europe or the UK, I want to say. Okay. Where instead of using so many pesticides to control weeds and bugs and things like that, they were actually using lasers. So they had a unit essentially that a tractor would pull, and inside the unit they had some sort of software that was running a laser that would differentiate between plants and weeds, and then just kill it with a laser instantly.
I'm assuming AI obviously is included here.
Has to be, has to be. But when I read the story this morning, it reminded me of that. But I mean, it's coming, I think.
No, but that's one of the things I think that we're going to see another area. We've been talking about biotech where AI could really make a big difference. I think agriculture as well, especially because on this side of the border, we hire a lot of foreign workers to come work our farms because we don't really have the people, quite frankly. Let's talk about this. So $300 million, it's a blank purchase agreement with, as you mentioned, Brendo, the Department of Agriculture, the USDA. The partnership focuses here specifically on the National Farm Security Action Plan. It's aimed at modernizing the service delivery for American farmers. The key goal, though, of the collaboration is food security. I mean, and that's obviously a good goal to have. They're going to leverage data analytics technology to enhance the supply and the security of agricultural resilience. So we'll have to see how this works out. But another government contract. But nice to see maybe a little bit diversification away from military.
Definitely. Back higher here right now for Palantir. I mean, it was pretty choppy yesterday, guys, but looking good here so far today.
Yeah, it does look pretty good. You can make some arguments that it's a little bit of that you could be diddling in the middle, but I'm going to take the other side of it. That you had like a head, just like silver had a head and shoulders and followed through. This has that sort of head and shoulders look, but we're threatening to break the shoulder upside, and that's going to be that 148. We already broke it pre-market, so unfortunately, it's already made that test, so now it needs to break out the fresh new high here. But as long as it holds above the volume-weighted average price, I want to look for the opportunity to play into 150 on Palantir. If you lose, the second you lose VWAP, all bets are off. And it actually closed. This one's a bit deceiving because it actually did close down here at 146. Though you could make some argument that the closing area support feels more like 147. So I want to be giving this one a chance on that break. But just understand, you fail break, you lose back under here, that's what I give it. That's pretty simple. So Palantir, the other way to look at this too is, I just sort of see this hold of the 50 period as it's weak in terms of lower highs, but that hold of the 50 period has a lot of room to run. First step would be 50, and then to get to the 200. I want to see if it can take that first step today. I think if you can ever risk about 50 pennies on Palantir on a breakout, that's pretty reasonable because when it goes, it can be absolute insanity. And this is one I want to give a shot to
Palantir today?
For sure. Yeah, it's got that nice little condensed look above prior resistance for that potential breakout trade. And then it's a relatively tight area stop, right? Like you're not holding it all the way back into 145, 146. Like you can get out tight up here in the 147 half range.
Yeah, I mean, the primary thing I think with this farm deal is to improve security, which I find...
this headline...
this is what Palantir does.
Notice how I didn't mention the headline because I don't care about it.
Yeah, exactly. No, as for Palantir, I mean, it went on a big time run. Like, we're not going to beat around the bush on that fact. It did fall down. It was nothing compared to... I don't know, it just gives me like that SoFi, Robinhood type feel, just the meme aspect. But there's actual contracts behind this. They're expanding globally. A couple deals in Germany and Japan, I believe, as well, too. So at the lows, you were down 40%. You're starting to find a recovery off of that 123 all the way up to 147. So you're officially back into bear market territory, or bull market territory, sorry, I should say. In regards to our new metric that we found out not too long ago, this downtrend still intact, though, if you ask me. So what we want to see from Palantir is a nice base being formed at 127. You hold, you break above, and we can go through multiple examples, whether it be Tesla. You now have Bitcoin on the backside of things, Google as well, too. So, I mean, Palantir, we're liking the way it's looking right now. And the more contracts they get, the better. And it was just hurt, during SaaSmageddon, right? All these software names, were just getting absolutely destroyed, and Palantir was a part of that until, you know, who decided to put the ticker into a truth post, and then for the first time ever, and that's what I was asking. I was like, do you think he knew the actual ticker before, or what was going on? He was told something, so yeah. So
yeah, that's a tough one.
The dawn, yeah, exactly. So hopefully we can get a couple more of those. Not. If we can get a true social with brackets IBIT, I think we'll all be happy.
That'd be game over.
That'd be game over for him.
Oh.
Do you think Bitcoin climbs about what 10-15% on that day? I'm not going to say all-time high because I think it's a bit of a stretch.
If the president effectively said Bitcoin is a buy, I think 10% is reasonable.
Reasonable, yeah.
He's not going to say that,
No.
so let's
You never know,
understand that we're being hypothetical. But he didn't say Palantir was a buy. That's not what he said. It was so bullish, but that's not what he said. Maybe he would say something positive about Boeing here after their earnings. Now up 5% Boeing and flying higher.
Yeah, just took out the highs right now. In fact, we're getting back through 230. I mean, you and I were just kind of chuckling over the fact that the sheer amount of backlog that this company has on order, but I mean, they just can't get them out the door fast enough.
And there's no shortage of demand. I mean, everybody needs airplanes. Every airline needs new airplanes. 6,100 airplanes, Brendo, is how many they currently have on order. Their revenue backlog, the money that they're unable to realize because they can't build these planes, a little bit less than $700 billion, guys. 694.7 billion. That's a 1.8% increase year over year on that figure. Like you could compare it to RPO, remaining performance obligations. Obviously not the same, but similar. Let's talk about their report. So they reported a narrower than expected adjusted loss of 20 pennies. The street was actually looking for a 68 penny loss, so much better shoring up of costs, with revenue coming in at 22.22 billion. That is a 14% increase year over year on the quarter. Good look there. Global services revenue, that's a lot higher margins because they're servicing the airplanes, so a lot more money to be made there. That also rose nicely 6% to 5.37 billion. Defense and space segment absolutely rocketed there, 21% year-over-year increase in that segment. That makes sense. Space is really picking up. There's a lot of wars, so this all makes sense. 7.6 billion is what they brought there, Brendo, and they're looking for $1 to $3 billion in free cash flow this year, despite the fact that they're spending up a storm, right? So it's not like they're being conservative with their money, but they're still targeting a healthy free cash flow.
It's worth noting, UAL CEO on CNBC right now, an airline I'm sure has a bunch of Boeing planes, but the stock is doing absolutely nothing. So just a heads up.
I feel like not enough. Boeing doesn't get enough credit for the defense side. Like that over 20% growth that they had on the defense side does stand out. And it's like, recognize it's not just. It's when you consider that all governments in the world, it seems like now are increasing their military spending. Like that's a good avenue for them. We already talked about how someone was accumulating every time it was under 220 in the last week and a half. This looks like a clean breakout that needs to get 232 to go. I don't think this is on an earnings day, I wouldn't chase this move. The chance to, when you sit down, like it seemed like that 220 thing would be a heck of a lot more relevant, but then the earnings come out and it goes in the other direction. I don't think this is one that I'm going to end up trading, unless it ends up doing something so ridiculously clean on VWAP like you see. Then I wouldn't be chasing Boeing. I do like them I own them in the long term, and I'm holding it. I still think this thing is going to go profitable sometime this year. Thought maybe had a chance this quarter. They just missed, and then you'll see 300 on it. And unfortunately, I hate every single time it comes back to us. It's like it was another pop there in USO. Yeah, USO's about to go green, and we're going to challenge that 129 right away. And if we're up here threatening a break of that 129, that's where we got to in the afternoon. It's a pretty big level here on USO. So it's a little bit of weakness in the market because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as for Boeing, duopoly with Airbus, I mean, they're still, margins improved, right? But they're still losing money in the commercial airspace. Deliveries are up, though, a slight margin improvement, which is positive. 143 commercial planes, up from 130 years ago, 130 a year ago, essentially. Looking to deliver more than 660 planes by the end of 2026. This is essentially what you want to see. I think that Boeing, eventually, if it can fly out of its own way, can continue to climb higher. We have that previous pivot around 254. Can we break that? Let's head over to the weekly and see where we stand essentially from an all-time high. We're down substantially from that. I mean, it's not even really that close, to be honest with you. This stock is still essentially cut in half. So if you think that it's still at a discount, then I think you're going to be somewhat correct. You're down 48% off of those highs still, which we experienced in, what was that, March of 2019. So, I mean, 60 years plus, you haven't seen an all-time high. It's tough. We need them to get out of their own way, which they're step in the right direction. So, yeah, Northrop also, shares of GE Space and Northrop Grumman fell about 6-4%. So yeah, I mean, it's good to see this thing's up 3.7% plus here this morning. Let's send it back there.
All right, Tesla coming up after the close tonight. Again, we'll stick around. We'll hang out. Show's going to go late. We'll bring that to you. 4:20, as Elon tends to do for his earnings report. Not doing anything here today, but what are we expecting?
We're expecting for EPS anyway. We're expecting about 30 pennies per share. That would be up from 27 pennies a year ago on revenue of 22.17 billion. Again, that would be a nice increase from the year prior, which brought in about 19.34 billion. A lot of different rating agencies dropping comments today about Tesla, but my concern is a couple of things. One, free cash flow. Free cash flow could be a big problem for Tesla this year as they look to invest, obviously, in the next gen of their product line. We're talking about robotaxis. We're talking about Optimus. We know he shut down X and S so that he can refit it. That refitting is going to cost a lot of money. So free cash flow could be a bit of a problem for Tesla into 26 and 27. Keep an eye out for that. Secondly, I want to hear on the call, specifically, probably not going to get this on the earnings report, but later on the call, what the runway is for the robotaxi, for mass production of that robotaxi. We're seeing them all over Austin on X. So, you know, that's typically how Tesla works. When the revamped Model Y, codenamed Juniper, was about to get launched, we saw them all over Austin. Then typically we start seeing them in a product launch. That's number one. Number two, I want to hear more about the Terafab and how much money that's going to cost. That kind of goes back to what I was saying about the free cash flow. And then last but not least, would love to hear about Optimus and when he expects to scale that and whether, you know, there's been improvements on that, because again, we really haven't seen much from Optimus version 3 since the Benioff video, and quite frankly, I was not impressed with that.
And there's also many other companies with tons and tons of video right now of their robots, maybe even getting out in front of Optimus at this point. Yeah, there's a bunch of headlines just coming through, just be aware. The market's kind of moving around on a few of them, including one from Boeing. Boeing just took out the high again, came right back in though. I just checked, their earnings call is actually 10:30, but there is a comment from the CEO, he's probably on a media outlet somewhere, saying they're on track for positive cash flow in the second half.
Not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad, but we'll hear from them more again coming up at 10:30 today.
Yeah, so positive headlines, obviously, for the market just now. President saying talks possible as soon as Friday. You've got Lebanon essentially coming out saying they'll push for a 1-month truce extension with Israel. Both of those things causing a spike down. It's like we go up, we go down, causing a downward spike, and now we're getting it back. So I feel like we could have one of these messy opens. I don't know if that's going to be the case on Tesla, though. Tesla looks oddly boring right now. At least it does. Well, it does, right? Like it was accumulation most of the afternoon underneath the 390 level. So it needs to escape 390, break a 91, and then you've got plenty of room to go to the upside. But it's been in a rejection fall. If it wasn't reporting tonight, I'd probably treat it like Intel, where like Intel had a similar setup, and then if it gets back into this candle, I'm just shorting it into that high is the plan of action.
Yeah.
But with Tesla reporting tonight, I don't know that I want to do that. Like I'd rather participate if it can get above that 90 level. But I'm gonna steer clear of this one right away at the open, as condensed as it is, and sort of stick with the plan. I have Palantir up here, IBIT, and we haven't even talked about AMD, which you know what? Maybe that fits in with Google because Google new chip. We'll talk about there. But I feel like it could be a bit of a trap.
On Tesla,
set up here on Tesla.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, let's get real. Let's get real here. Like Optimus, come on. Like, I mean, what I really want to hear about is essentially Cybercab. The rollout. This is what we want to see. They're expanding in Texas. That's what we want to see. Austin, Houston, Dallas. So essentially, like honestly, this is how I feel about it. At the end of the day. I don't think Optimus is going to be a needle mover anytime soon. So, yeah, that's essentially how I feel, to be honest. Like again, you're not even selling these things en masse yet. They're not even being produced at that level. So it's like how many more years down the road until you get to that? And from a hardware standpoint, they need extremely mass improvements in order to kind of compete with some of these other robotics companies. Yeah, they can get there. I mean, the brain, I think the brain is something that's important. It's there, the software is there. But as for the mechanics of these things, we've seen that video, right? It was struggling to get to the kitchen. It was delayed. It didn't really know what it was doing. So, yeah.
And if you've got the best nuts and bolts, then it's easier to play catch up. I think that's the same story for Tesla with this whole like LiDAR or no, not LiDAR. It's like, well, it might not be the best automated system now, but it's the one that has the potential to actually learn and not just be a series of patches on top of patches, where it's getting better exponentially in the future. But we'll see. It's almost 9:25. We'll have the imbalances, but Alphabet's been holding up exceedingly well all pre-market, regardless of what was all these headlines in oil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a big dump going back to 8 o'clock, almost right when we came on this morning. This seemed to be the main one that popped up. 8th gen TPU announcement coming through from Google, essentially going right at NVIDIA, saying they're going to make these TPUs specifically to train fundamental models, fundamental LLMs. So absolutely, that's playing in NVIDIA's sandbox.
Absolutely, and they're looking to take on one of their the people that they're customers for. So no real surprise there in the hyperscaler world where they're all competing with one another. Let's talk about this. This is a massive AI agentic fund, $750 million partner fund established to help Google's 120,000 member, believe it or not, ecosystem to kind of boost that. Look, this is what really caught my attention though. Google also signing a $1 billion deal with Merck to deploy agentic platforms across the pharmaceutical giant's R&D. This is what we've been talking about. R&D being sped up by AI in pharmaceuticals and biotech. This can be very accretive. Also, the Anthropic expansion, Anthropic trying to gain access to 1 million TPU chips, Brendo, to train and grow the future generations of its Claude models. So this should be, this is a faceted story here. You got the biotech angle, you got Anthropic here. You have obviously the new TPUs with the 120,000 members. So another good look for Google.
Yeah, a couple of tie-ups as well. This morning they extended their agreement with NVIDIA, new deal with Oracle as well. That was all announced back at 8 o'clock. So yeah, we're holding up nicely. Actually trying to head back higher, guys, for Google.
Yeah, it's holding up very nicely, but I think you got a pretty distinct bull flag here on the 15-minute. Or, I think, well, what else would you call it, right? Distinct bull flag with support back in this, dark pool wick, support back in this 337 range. So either you're looking for that hold, or what looks a little bit sexier would be if it can break out above like 339.50. The thing that I don't like though is it was holding that tight consolidation and kind of lost it a bit. So I think maybe testing into VWAP or these prior lows would make sense before just jumping in. Here, let this one open up, I think, just a little bit. And then AMD, I want to get no other context to talk about AMD, so I'm just going to throw it in here now. AMD is strong. AMD made another all-time high. AMD seems to make an all-time high every single day. 2 days ago, it did the same rejection candle Intel did. One of these two names pushed through. It's not Intel. It's AMD. Now double topped right around this 286. So that's the first step area is into the prior high. And then there's also 282 in here, which is like the body. So I got a couple of places I'm looking for dip reversions on AMD, understanding how volatile this name can be. And then before I throw to Joe, I do want to get up the imbalance locator because it's already past 925. There's nothing, literally nothing here. SMR, small buy, FFAI, Faraday, small sell, 300,000 shares. Oracle, a buy of 200,000. Apple, a buy of 230,000. AEL is a small sell at 230. IBIT's a small sell at 215,000, and it's not even reacting to it. It remains strong.
Tesla tanking, yeah. I mean, Tesla's selling just before the open here. I was just looking at some of the market caps. I mean, $4 billion on Google, $4.8 billion on NVDA, Apple. Let's see what that one's sitting at here, approximately 3. Okay, so Google has surpassed Apple Yeah, and I think at some point it's going to catch up to what NVDA is doing. I think it's one of the best tech names. The ETF, we essentially call it. Keep an eye out on it. This is the vibe that I had, though, to be honest with you, Neil, on the days that Tesla is just going to be an all-day fader, to be honest with you, leading into the earnings report. I don't think the street's going to like the CapEx on the Terafab. Yeah, big-time trap. I mean, it was nice leading into that report, but you want to see strength leading into that. Like,
well,
I mean, if we go from previous history, I mean, the chances of it having that strong bounce are low. I'm not going to say they're not there, but they're low the more you sell off from an intraday standpoint, because somebody knows something, right? Like, somebody has a good idea, and I don't think that the numbers are going to be very good whatsoever.
Well, that's one of those rules. Someone seems to always know something. Let's be real. It doesn't always manifest itself in the price action, but often it does. With just a minute to go here, or less than 1 minute to go, a couple of notables to point out that we haven't got to. Micron just popped, now up 3%, not at all-time highs, but brick wall at about $465 here in Micron. Just wanted to be able to show you that. Just be careful. CAR, for those that are interested in our squeeze, in the squeeze of the year, I suppose. I mean, I guess it would be the squeeze of the year. Nothing is more impressive than this. It's back to VWAP and up that 8%. And so right now, IBIT is doing not much. It's hanging out at the highs. AMD currently, right before the open, I got a stink bid at that 87 level. We'll see if it gets there. Intel's already popped. Okay, Intel is going to be popping right into this range here. It was 68.5 to 69 watching on INTC. Market is now open, everybody.
Yeah, market is open. Let's go. Let's ride this wave. The casino special SDS. I appreciate you, Patrick DeVille, my boy. I know. Good luck, everyone. I hope everyone has a good start. You know what, guys? We're going to wait the first 10 minutes. We want to wait for a pullback here in IBIT. We'll see what Tesla's up to. We have it. I had my eyes on SMR, but we might toss that thing to the side. NVDA is starting to slide a little bit here as well. So right out of the gates, we're moving back towards the volume-weighted average price in the NASDAQ and in the SPY. So let's be patient and wait for some headlines to step in. They're going to be. We can do an over/under in about 15 minutes or so before we hear another headline step in. With that being said, watch for some volatility spikes. We can base some trades off of that. I understand that at some point it gets a little bit too much, but nonetheless, we can. Trump always creates opportunities, as they say.
Well, that much is almost always
in the narrative.
Almost always true. All right, Intel's good. I have to zoom it out so that you can see the ridiculous candle that it put in on Monday, I guess it would be. So we were through that 68.5. The top of that was about 69.20. I'm kind of looking to thread the needle. If it does that rejection and is a topping tail, I'm trying to slam it back through. Oh, okay. So it does require a little bit of patience here. USO is also, I don't want to say spiking, but it's ticking back up. So oil futures are ticking back up a little bit, which could put a little bit of weakness into the market. Come on, reject. It's not rejecting. Patience. Don't short the front end. Do not want to short the front end. Tesla.
We got that. Yeah, dude, I seen the signal. I said 10 minutes, but I had to take that trade. Okay. But man, it printed. I had to go on that one. What a monster right out of the gate. Oh man, that was sick, dude. Honestly, I didn't want to, but I seen that print and I knew I would kick myself if I didn't take it. So there it is, right out of the gate. Man, oh man, Bitcoin. That's ripping. Tesla decided to have a massive break just like that. So that was a good one. I mean, it was the signal, right, Gaurav? That's why we had to take it. I pull up on the 1 minute. I see it. I'm like, oh, why do you have to do me like that? So essentially what was going on is that 1 minute print there on TSLA. We're going to probably get stopped out here momentarily. We got only about half off, but we're not going to hold this against us whatsoever.
Well, I mean, the one thing you got to consider and why I have not punched with an addition, well, I got IBIT on the way back after that breakout, but that's the only one that I've taken because USO was pressing into that high. That's the thing that's giving me a little bit of pause for concern. So while trying to thread the needle in INTC, I'll go over to IBIT a quick. It's like, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to flip for 2 seconds, and it's going to probably go. Like, Bitcoin made the break. Well, I'm literally staring down Intel. Should have just scalped it. But I'm not going to let this lose the volume-weighted average price.
Yeah.
Should have already taken profit on the way up, but because I didn't, you can't go back in time. It's going to throw my stop and look for this opportunity here in Intel, because that's a huge topping tail candle. If it presses through the bottom, then I'm hitting the short on INTC. USO right at the literal high of the day. There it goes. It's trying to break. I just got VWAP. I would love to be able to, if it spikes up even just a little bit, I'd love to be able to get some 90s, throw my stop up here because I didn't have my stop in like a fool, and then look to see how far this can go down. I'm not saying it's going to do what it did 2 days ago, but if it does.
Yeah.
But if
Dude,
it
this
does.
is our boy Randy, man. Maybe we get a...
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I should have gone.
If we could get a reload, that would be...
Well, the problem with that is the coffee machine's still broken. He
But where did he get this from?
He'd manual drip. Like I told you, he went analog on the coffee.
Hey man, all right, but this guy's
Appreciate
already,
Randy,
yeah, exactly. If we can get a manual drip again, that would be prime time. No, honestly,
that'd be cool.
in all seriousness, guys, we got stopped at about 65 to 70% as it came back break even. I piece them up there. As soon as we get it up there, boom, we take a little bit more off. We take some more off. It was a squeeze right to the top side. Joe, about that coffee? Yeah, I know. Since when does Joe drink coffee? Man, when you're running all dayers, man. No, I was never a coffee drinker. Espresso.
That's
but what do you mean, dude?
But I see you drink coffee all the time.
No, you don't.
Don't I?
Yeah, no, man. Trust me. I don't, like, it makes me jittery and all that stuff. So yeah, I only have it when we need it to fuel the fire of the day trading machine. So essentially.
Huh. Okay. No,
yeah, man, I'm not like, dude, very rarely. You know, I'm H2O. I'm one of these right in the morning. I usually wait a little bit for this. Yeah.
Okay, so back to the market for a second because we're actually starting to accelerate a little bit to the downside. That being said, I mean, Bitcoin's not really moving. It's holding above that VWAP. And then I look over at what's happening with USO. It's holding the highs without breaking out. So if it pulls back, that could be a good thing for the overall market, at least for now. Yeah. You can't, I don't even, at this point, you can only hope to, you can't stop it. You can only hope to contain it. Avis hit $820 and broke the 800 level, obviously. What an absolute beast of a squeeze that has been. There's been pullbacks and there's been times that it looks like it's a short and there's been no time that has been right as far as I can tell. Palantir, I guess, look, if you took the break of a high, it gave you the dollar, but this is no longer, that's not the breakout trade anymore. Now you're looking for the back end of it, and I'm not a huge, and I don't like that side of the trade. I almost said it a different way, and then you'd have been all over me. The chat would have caught me. I caught myself there, because that would have been sus if I said that.
Bro. Oh, okay, yeah. Turk Tank. Okay, you're just down the street. Yeah, we'll figure that out, man.
What's up?
He says one of our viewers is like he's just trying to come pass by. He's emailed. He never got a reply.
For real?
But yeah, and he's just down the street. So if you're in the city of Toronto, we can definitely work something out. I would say DM me on X, but I can't even get into my X DMs or anything.
I mean, you can't get into your X.
Bro, they're asking me for this PIN code that I have no idea what is, and so.
That's how X got me too.
Yeah.
X does that. That's why I had to switch accounts.
Yeah, and it's just
boo, Elon.
Yeah,
boo.
like, what do I need this PIN code for to get in? So anyways, aside from that, no. Tesla might get going again here, guys. We're gonna get prepared to hop in. So we're holding the volume weighted average price. We have SMR continuing to climb higher. Bitcoin did fall into the volume weighted average price.
Right now.
Yeah, it's right there. So let's see what we got going on. But I don't like this indecision print, right? I don't like this indecision print right off of the gate, right out of the gate here, essentially on that opening auction. And then now you're starting to come back in a little bit. This could be a potential breakup pattern here on TSLA. We got to take another stab on this bad boy.
Yes, sir. And IBIT, oh, we have a super chat there, but I got to show you. Intel's still holding lower, but IBIT loses VWAP. So took the local break, giving it to VWAP. If it doesn't show a close above, I don't take a second shot. GE Vernova, shout out to son of Daniel Gouda Guru. 11 hundo. It is an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah, big time.
Pun intended. They're in the energy space, can you tell? Holy moly, mother of pearl. Or you could just say sweet Christmas, like my man Luke Cage. That's one of my favorites. Sweet Christmas is how he says it. And what an unbelievable break. Sometimes the stock tells you where to buy, and this one told you to buy at the 50-period SMA on the daily. And congratulations if you did.
Congratulations.
Although, realistically, you could have bought that, a perfectly quality company that I will hold for the rest of my life, or you could have just closed your... Remember when I said you could just close your eyes and buy cars? A complete joke?
Yeah, what, did you
You could have closed... Hell no. Hell to the no, I ain't closing my eyes and buying
Come on, man.
Avis budget rent. It doesn't really matter. Rob Newland, thank you for the. Oh, we got. That's British pounds. I'm going to be in London this year. Take a little look at FLWS. Risky but worth having on the radar. Well, everything is risky in trading. Like, you can make any stock risky. This is done 900,000 shares. Like, volume under 1 million for a small capper. That's like instantaneously risky. Dumped off this level yesterday at $5. Looks like it's weak off it again. Habitual line stepper at the $5 level, under the major moving average.
SMR is going off.
I hate to tell you this, but that looks like that was a really good short setup. I'm sorry to say, but that's just true. Like, look at these topping tail candles. Look at where this was. And it popped right into here. That's exactly what you're looking for in a short. Sorry about that. I mean, most people aren't asking because they want to be told that the stock looks like a short. But maybe it's done right now. I don't know. I don't know the company, so. I haven't looked at Beyond Meat. Is it over $1 still? Rustum Blee. You know what? I gotta
look at it.
We're at the 67, so it's basically at the target here, like the target low that I'm looking for on Intel before I look for a reload. So I'm gonna look to slip my trailing stop in because that's how I roll. Because we're at that 67. My daughter really dislikes that whole thing, so.
She dislikes it now?
Yeah, it's turned the other way. Like,
okay.
She won't say 7. She'll say 6 Evan.
6 Evan. I like that. Yeah, it is, man.
The kids, they've literally flipped their head.
Yeah, it's all
Beyond
right,
Meat is holding the dollar level. I didn't realize this happened in the afternoon. I wasn't paying attention to Beyond Meat. That it wicked the $1 level. This becomes interesting because that's technically a dollar hold. I might get involved in this at some point. If I see this, if this holds the open range above $1, that could be worth a little something. But I just got the tag out on Intel. Sometimes these exits look incredibly good. Other times you'll look at it and it's like, oh, good, Neil, why'd you get out? But that was the area I was looking for. I wanted to depress that pre-market low. It bounced off to 60 Evan, and I'll look to see if we can get it back underneath the volume-weighted average price. There. So yeah, just looking for the next opportunity. It very well might be IBIT. It could still be AMD.
Yeah.
It enter a second time. AMD didn't quite pull back into that prior high, but it got pretty.
SMR is going off here. Do you see SMR? Like, this thing's go up to 12. Yeah. It's going $12.66, $12 to $12.66 now, 70s. And I was looking at this thing long yesterday. It essentially doesn't matter.
No news on SMR.
No news on SMR. Just a technical move. And there goes Tesla starting to climb higher. I think at some point. Yeah, Bitcoin, you're out of it. I still think there's a good opportunity, Neil, to get involved. Maybe around 44, 48. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at it as well too. I want to see a little bit more data being printed here on the 5-minute time frame, but it might just go off to the races right now. Like, there it goes. Now printing 57s. I'm not chasing it all the way up here, but we will keep our eye on it as Tesla. And I want to see this from Tesla leading into the earning report. I don't want to see a weak session coming from these guys because I don't think it's going to be good as you fall into that report after the bell. So Tesla, I have Tesla on all of my charts. I meant to type in IBIT here, Neil, to see if we can get a look here.
Oh, come on.
Is it gone? What? No, I popped back into 53. Beyond Meat up there. Say, yeah, I mean, hey, man, what's CAR doing as well today? Is Carbon performing well or what?
Apparently you just close your eyes and like, it's so ridiculous. I'm like, we'll give it, let's see a 15-minute candle. Or you can just blindly punch long for no apparent reason.
Beyond?
And then it's just gonna go crazy. Whatever. So that's gone. I'm no longer looking at that. CAR is holding VWAP for what it's worth. I want to get back. Like, Intel was Intel, but I want to get back into IBIT. Because I'll be frustrated with that. Like, we're actually holding the lows. There's no pop into VWAP there. I would look to try to get back into IBIT if I can on a dip. Like, I end up making the bottom. I'm right now the bottoming tail on IBIT. So 1 for 2. Thankfully, the Intel was good. Yeah. But Brent Roth has a super chat wanting us to look at red wire. You should always cut the red wire, so the movies say. Or is it the blue wire? Doesn't really matter. 18% on them. Ooh, that's such a gorgeous looking channel to the upside. Whenever I see a channel on the daily, you know what I think. If it's showing you how to ride the wave, then respect it. Right? Like, it's at the top of the channel without a breakout. It goes from like you got the win to buy the dip. But that's just what I see on the daily.
You wanna message Randy for a refill?
I'm going to. Yeah. I just want to figure out where I'm getting into IBIT.
Okay.
I want to get that dip buy. But yeah, we need a refill. Let's go to Adair at the desk.
First big war headline of the day, guys. Keep an eye on USO. We do have Fox News reporting that Iran is threatening to hit regional power plants should U.S. strikes escalate. So, again, we've got a threat here from Iran as reported by Fox News. Furthermore, President Trump posting on Truth Social, it is not really about politics at all. It looks like it's about politics. It's not about the market. Already 2 Truth Social posts from Trump, so be aware he could always post more. And a lot of times, especially in the morning, these posts tend to move the market a bit. Back to you.
It's so interesting, and thank you, Adair. We were just talking about the whole SMR, Vernova bringing up some of the nuclear names probably with it and energy names to go with it. And I feel as if you talk about those more, and that's why we go through all of the ideas, you're more likely to see something like that. That's what we try to discuss as much as possible. Yeah. You might see a sympathy play that you weren't looking at otherwise. So I'm going to try to focus on IBIT if I can here. If it gets back into VWAP or just gives me some kind of a dip and rip that I can work with. Adair?
I was just going to say GV is crazy today. Like, I've never seen this spread on GV. It's like a $4, $5 spread. Very fun to watch, but be careful in these streets, guys.
Ooh, I love GEV. It's one of those, I owned GE for a very, very long time. It's like one of the boring stocks in my long-term portfolio. And then they did the 3-way split. I wanted no part of GE Healthcare. So when that happened, the first thing I did was I took the GE Healthcare shares, sold the GE Healthcare shares that I got and put that all into GE Vernova. And it's worked out absolutely swimmingly. I had no idea this was going to happen.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Celsius in the long term? Ask Adair. She's all about that stuff.
Okay. Okay. For what it's worth, I switched to natural caffeine energy drinks like a year ago. Actually, probably like about 9 months ago in September. 8-9 months. But Celsius was never even really my favorite, regardless. So people make the jokes about me with energy drinks. I get it. Celsius is publicly traded. Not the best.
Because there you go. Because all I can tell you is what the chart looks like, which is not very good. Like it's literally in the midst of a breakdown. The good news is this could turn into a bottoming tail on the daily, right? Because it looks like you're trying to regain this 33.5. So this could end up being a rounded bottom. That's a good start here today. That's all I'll give you. It's not a very good looking chart, and I'm not a fan of catching the absolute bottoms. Another super chat.
What is PLN though?
Planet Labs? What?
No.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. It doesn't matter. I don't know what PLN is, but thank you, Venus Swing. Hi, Neil and Joe. Happy trading day. What would be your target on VFS short term?
Okay.
So many names that
Bitcoin,
we are.
Man.
I can't even pretend to say that
Polish is old.
Like VinFast. Okay. I don't remember the last time I looked at this name. It's tended to have a lot of pop and drops, right? Like where it'll go parabolic for a little bit and reverse. When I see this target, didn't you just hit it? Look at the $5 level. Until it breaks out again, like I guess it could get to. I guess it could go all the way to like 6.5, and then that'll be like 8.75. But like, to me, like that bull last run, I play these to the bag hold level. If I'm in a small capper, I like bagging the win on a small capper if I happen to swing it. All right, I can tell you what I'm not going to be getting, and that's going to be AMD. AMD was trying to confirm the trend break, broke down, so no entry there. Palantir is gonzo. No entry there. While I was trading Intel short, Palantir decided it wanted to dip and rip. IBIT is still the same.
Still the same,
It's not pulling back. It hasn't given me a reentry. And then Intel for the reentry short, it's just consolidating where I got out. So if it doesn't pop into VWAP and give me a lower high, I might just be very, very patient when it comes to this.
To Bitcoin? Or Intel?
Both, either one.
Yeah. We have to wait. I'm looking for a pullback in Bitcoin too. You typically see them, so I think it's just gonna be, exactly. Unless it's a super strong session, we have that form where the volume starts to diverge from price on the way down. It's just gonna grab anything as close to the volume weighted average price right now for me in Bitcoin, especially if we're gonna have one of those trends in those breakout days, which so far now, I mean, we're only 15 minutes after the open, 18 minutes or so. I mean, it's still early. Let's see if we can get that Tesla continued to climb higher. There was a reload opportunity, but right out of the gate, as soon as I print, I seen that boom, off to the races we go, and then essentially 12.95 on this level. Are we going somewhere? I'm not even.
I think we're going to Adair.
Okay, yeah, let's send things off to Adair.
These headlines are getting more and more granular here in the Middle East. So a little bit before the bell, right as I was kind of switching over to this desk around 9:26 a.m., more or less, we did have reports that President Trump was considering holding talks with Iran on Friday. Now we're seeing reports from Iranian state media that Iran hasn't decided yet whether or not they want to engage in the talks on Friday. So more potential talks, and they are up in the air. So if I get more information, I'll let you know. Furthermore, White House reportedly telling Fox News that President Trump has extended the Iran ceasefire for 3 to 5 days. Now, this is worth noting because he didn't actually specify how much longer the ceasefire was going to be extended to, as far as I remember, in his Truth Social post later yesterday. Back to you.
Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to get involved. Get that
we're
caffeine
just like,
drip.
Get some caffeine in us right now. Beyond Meat continues to go. I don't like what I'm seeing over in AMD, given the context of some of like what else is happening in the overall market. Like you look over at NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA just broke the low. Okay, well, that's a little bit different. NVIDIA now breaking low of the day. Micron was holding VWAP. Now it's starting to lose it. The Qs are rolling through the volume-weighted average price. So we're starting to lose the bid here. Well, be careful what you wish for, because I did say I wanted to look for a dip over in IBIT. Throw up the super chat. I know if you got the super chat, I just saw it, and much to my chagrin, I did not trade Beyond Meat.
Okay.
Well, looking at Intel, and it is what it is. Rusty, you made magic to Beyond. No, I didn't. Usually I'm like a jinx when it comes to that. Like for me to say, oh, it held the dollar. That looks pretty interesting. I'll come back to this after we have some confirmation on like the 15-minute candle. I don't think I want to jump in up here. There's no fundamental reason why this is doing anything crazy. I think it's just that whole sympathy nonsense play.
Oh, okay. Tesla might give us a good reload here right at the volume-weighted average price. There it goes, right off to the races, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get involved in just in case. The market is moving lower, but potential bottoming signals. Did we get the exact price that we want? No. 05s would have been better. I mean, pennies are extremely important when you're trading this, but as soon as we break 02s, we're at a dodge on this one. So we start relatively light. Not much going on it. Some indecision prints at some key levels. NVDA helping drag the market down. And if we break this level, then sure enough, then we just get out of dodge and wait for something. Bitcoin's holding up so strong, though. Typically, you see these pullbacks about 20 minutes or so after, whenever you're climbing, and then you have that aggressive move lower. But that hasn't been the case thus far in Bitcoin. So we'll continue to keep an eye on it. We want to get involved with this. I would prefer to trade it over Bitcoin. I had to take this additional print to right at the volume-weighted average price. Location is key. We talk about location, and also in somewhat of an uptrend. But with the market looking to crack the lows, you can see it even on the 1-minute support level. If that breaks, then it's see you later to the overall. There's the Qs, and then obviously we have NVDA starting to slide a bit as well. So not too good of a look right now. We'll hold on for as long as we can, but we also stick to our stops. We had that nice little pop right out of the jump. It didn't work out. That's fine. I'm not going to average into this trade or anything along those lines. Support level, that's too much room in my opinion. Even though if it does construct a lower high, that's not going to be bad whatsoever. Let's head over to our watch list and see what we got going on over there today, and see how Google has been responding on today's session. There it is, 5-minute time frame. A lot of buying pressure heading back in towards a key resistance zone. You can see that this was acting as prior support, and then now we're starting to climb a little bit higher. So hopefully, aside from what NVDA is doing, we can have Google and Apple and some of the other larger participants help grind us a little bit higher. Look at Apple go. And it's not really, exactly. Apple's moving to the top side. Google's doing the same thing roughly. It's breaking through the volume-weighted average price. Microsoft put in a monster session yesterday, but then you have the king of the chips essentially right now moving to the downside. So maybe we can get some form of rebound. There goes Tesla. IBIT breakdown. Yeah, I know it's not coming in.
High of day, man.
Yeah, I know it's not coming in. We have to be patient on this one, I think. But I think we can find a long eventually at some point. Nice little grab there off of the lows right at VWAP here on TSLA.
Yeah, and I finally got into something different, but it's not IBIT, unfortunately. Waited for SLV to get to 70.80. It's oddly enough 70.80 and 71.80 are the two levels I'm looking at for reversion here. The last 2 days, this has been the best short for me. So when it goes up and breaks a trend, we'll play that to the other side. It's really just IBIT that's bothering me. a lot here. And then, you know what? AMD looking great. I just typed AM. There we go. AMD filling in the gap to that prior high, and now it's trying to make that like a convincing bounce. So this is really making an effort to break the trend. It's so steep, right, that it's difficult to draw a trend line here. So it's really just working off of some kind of a higher low on this 3-minute. Like hold the bottom, hold a higher low, and then try to work off of that. But silver is the only news trade that I'm going to be in. SLV, not silver. People always get on us when I say that. So reversion trade, give to the high. I'll put a bid at the volume weighted average price because that's the first place we're going to be looking for any profits, is out in front of VWAP, as we like to say. But it's really IBIT that just continues to go super, super strong. And if we don't get a pullback in IBIT, I don't want that one to completely get away from me. The backup plan was going to be BM&R, but I don't want to shift to BM&R yet.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't want to go to BM&R or MSTR, to be honest with you. But there we go. We catch that fill at 20s, 1-to-1 essentially for us right there on TSLA. We go with the flow. It would have been nice to get back in where we were before, but that's not the case in that northern situation. We waited for that pullback, showing signs of strength. There you go, Gorev. NVDA off of that 1-minute print. I knew that was the one, my brother. So nice work there. I hope everyone's having a good start to today's session. We'll piece a little bit more off. I was having a conversation with the boys yesterday. Jose and Chris, to be exact, Neil. And Frex is just getting too expensive for my liking. Do you use Frex?
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's. I'm not. Oh, whoa! No one said that we hating on it now.
We love Frex over here.
We love Frex. Like if you're are you posting or are you punching on Frex, Adair?
I do a little bit of both.
A little bit of
I
both.
do everything, and honestly, I pretty much only use Frex because, to be
Really?
real, a lot of things I'm just not going to get filled otherwise.
So yeah, I hear you. So this is what I found. So punching and even posting on Frex. Punch on Frex, post on Arca.
If you're
punch on Frex, post on Arca.
Requires you to, like, you're going to get filled because they're just blowing through the levels. You don't have to worry about using Frex, I don't think. I think you should just, it adds up over time. Just get paid on the gateway.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can, just get paid.
Like if you're looking for that momentum style, what I'm figuring myself to do now, like I just posted up, I'm like, all right, let's punch on Frex, post on Arca. So you just kind of reduce those instead of just going everything along those lines. So all right, yeah, there goes Tesla, a nice little move, just playing the ebb and flow essentially on this one. We would like to have some more shares, but that's not necessarily the case. We'll be happy with what we got. Gorev, nice work on NVDA off of that 1-minute print on the low. I know exactly what you're looking at. If you can get in around 199.80s, hopefully that was your price. Gives you 20 cents right out of the get. Let's head back over to our watch list. You can see that we have the 2 longs only on today's session with TSLA. Moving forward, we got IBM after the bell as well too, so that could be a good potential play. Who else do we have? We have obviously Tesla we've been talking about.
Who's the third? There's someone else decent reporting.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple decent.
Tesla, IBM, ServiceNow, LRCX, LVS. I think probably IBM, ServiceNow, Tesla are the 3 biggest. We do have infographics for all 3 of those that are either have been released or are going to be rolled out over the day. Please check out X and TTV Research. It's always stacked, especially for earnings.
It's a lamb.
Don't send her a DM either because we don't have the PIN codes to those. Remember, we were just talking about the PIN.
To be fair, I know that's a joke, but my brain's too literal. This is also like the TTV research. We are always locked in.
There you go. Anyways, aside from that, ServiceNow's looking pretty good here today, Neil. Like starting to form somewhat of a bull flag on the 5-minute time frame. So not too bad. I mean, $103, a high of around 103.52. Let's see if it can continue to climb here. NVDA starting to come back in, helping drag the overall market. But if you look at the NASDAQ, a lot of overlapping candles here today, a complete mess, if you ask me. Let's take a look at USO. USO.
It's just chilling right now.
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, it's chilling at the highs. I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Very quiet.
I don't like USO.
You know what's breaking the low of the day right now?
What's that?
Avis.
Is it? Is this the thing?
No, but it's not. Like it's not falling very fast. But it is breaking the low. Keep in mind, this flat bottom broke and halted yesterday. The open looking like it was going to break down, and that's pretty much the moment that it destroyed all of the shorts again. So I don't think, I'll throw it up here because obviously there's people that are going to be interested in this, but it faked people out in yesterday's trade. Keep that in mind. You mentioned NVIDIA looking a little bit weak. AMD was it's still trying to flash some strength. Intel completely lost a bid. at this point. Like Intel got bad enough that I'm now back into that mode of, okay, well, I got the scalp short I was looking for against the grain on the way back in. Now I'm looking for the reversion trade, which would be somewhere in the lows here. Underneath 66, but there's room all the way down to 65 change. But I'm just going to look for some kind of a trend reversion for the next play over in Intel. Silver's doing the exact same thing. IBIT is still holding on to strength.
No.
I said I wouldn't pivot to BMNR, which was a mistake, because BMNR did come into VWAP and give you the bounce. And so that was the backup plan, was if I can't get VWAP on IBIT, just try to do it in BMNR, as that's also giving you 7%. It is up right now. Super strong. Nice. And that's what the market, we're up like less than a point. Like the NASDAQ's up 0.8%.
Yeah.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, let's just sit in this one trade. I want this Bitcoin pullback, man. It seems, is it giving you a little bit of weak vibes here? Because like if I'm looking at the detail on it, I think at some point we will get that channel break, Neil, and then it will get that pullback.
I can't consider it weak because of what the NASDAQ is doing.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough.
Look at where the Qs are right now. So if you're at the high of the day and still looking like an uptrend, like IBIT is, like I'm still at VWAP. At some point, like it moves far enough that I just cancel the VWAP bid. If we're just sitting in the middle and IBIT's at the highs, come on, like it's showing me relative strength. So if I liked it long, I still think the buy the dip is going to be in play. Like to me, the only reason I'm in SLV is because it got to my level where it fell apart yesterday and did a curl. So it's just a standard reversion trade that I'm in. And look, there's a lot to be watching here. We talked about Robinhood this morning. That's nice V-shaped reversal on Robinhood.
Yeah.
Pull right back into prior close. Now you're trend up. That looks pretty good here on the hooded one. They did invest in OpenAI. That was the story. Yeah. $75 million investment into OpenAI.
I mean, on Robinhood, what are we up to here now?
$90.
95?
Basically 90. Basically.
Still down substantially off of its highs, though. But, I mean, there goes Bitcoin, another new high of the day. The SPY is heading towards the high of the day as well. Service now inverted hammer candle on the 1 minute around those highs. This is what I'm looking at. Service now with that, there it goes back to the downside. I wonder if you have to order shorts on that one, but that's a good print there, guys. NVDA, this is that second print, right? Like Gaurav, I was thinking about taking an attempt on a long off of that one, but I just don't know how much it was going to potentially give. Obviously, with that being said, if we can get the continuation in Tesla all day, that's what we're looking for. But Bitcoin has been my primary. Missed that train. Messing around with Tesla, but that's all right. Intel, how have you been on the session? Just getting absolutely wrecked, but that thing was on a substantial streak. AMAT, TSM, Netflix back down to $93, starting to find somewhat of a bottom here, I think, at some point. 93.66. Amazon, how have you been performing here on the day, up to 252? So, I mean, some relative strength across the board. Apple climbing a little bit higher as well. So this is what we want to see. We just need that USO to head to the downside, which it is, and then you can see that inverse correlation. Market up, USO down. Adair.
Quickly before we go to Adair, I just want to look. We always have to try to update the trades first. High of the day stop on SLV that hit. The trend break finally happened on AMD. So I got to redraw it. Right, so there's our trend break on AMD. There's the trend confirmed. There's the breakout of the high. VWAP sits at 289.50. I'm going to look to get most of it out in front of 289.50 and leave a little on just to see if it can push to 291. But yeah, just looking for that reversion trade, kind of the opposite of the silver trade, really. And now that we've gone step one, stop tightens up a little bit here on AMD. Let's go to the desk. It's 10 o'clock. Adair, what's happening now?
I mean, so much is happening right now, Neil. Let's be really real here. Here's a look at the S&P 500, and I think the headlines to the left of said chart will really give a sense of how back and forth this market continues to be, specifically with Middle East headlines. As I mentioned earlier, right before the bell, we had the New York Post reporting that President Trump said that there's a second round of talks possible with Iran as soon as Friday. Then, around, I think, 9:50 a.m., Iran comes out and says, yeah, we don't know, actually, if we're going to participate in these talks. So everything's super unclear. As of right now, S&P 500 back at those pre-market highs. So nice look there. Also take a look here at GOOGL, which is popping up to the upside here, announcing 2 new TPU chips for advanced AI workloads. They also announced so many cloud partnerships that I might do a whole infographic about them, but they did include Broadcom, PepsiCo for some reason, and Accenture. So lots of different companies collaborating with Google. BA, one of many, many earnings names on watch, along with the likes of GEV, Philip Morris, PM. We also had UAL after the bell yesterday, IBKR after the bell yesterday, ISRG, COF. I could go on, but I won't. Boeing here, though, actually smaller than expected loss per share. Initially, really nice earnings reaction. Their earnings call at 10 a.m., so stay tuned. TSLA, speaking of staying tuned, 4:05 p.m., they're going to be posting earnings. Myself and Brenda will be on this desk. Joe and Neil will be over on that desk, and we're all going to be covering all of this stuff for you. I do also want to mention here, with regards to the housekeeping type stuff. A lot of these meme stocks are still in watch, CAR, BYND. B, we have a couple different congressional hearings right now. We've got Jameson Gurr, U.S. Trade Rep, and Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary. I'll be watching the Bessent hearing, though. If anything, like commentary-wise comes up from the Greer hearing, I'll have an eye on that as well, and I will keep you all posted. Back to you.
So that was wild. At the moment, I was eating a cantaloupe. Fruit salad's pretty good today. At the moment we got to our halfway point, I was getting profit on AMD, tighten up the stop when it goes to first resistance. So thankfully I did tighten it up. So it'll end up being kind of it would be a small win for a trend break. I'd say disappointing because I would have liked that to shoot right into VWAP. As long as it can hold a higher low, maybe set something up like this. Right, like, you know, you can see these like higher lows on a wick basis. Like, see the bodies, these candles look better. I can jump back into this trade, I think, underneath VWAP. There's another place that I can look for that. I'm not worried about what's going on with the USO because that's just gliding lower. It's in an uptrend, but it's actually threatening that it wants to bust it. Like, if you look at like 9 o'clock, and then you look at 9:18, then you look at the open, like you're kind of breaking the trend and pulling back. We didn't press that 129, so I don't mind looking for that second salvo in particularly AMD. Unfortunately, like look at IBIT, like that's going to be an annoying one. I'm more annoyed by that than not being still in the Intel short. But I got to be real. Intel is right down at the bottom. It's getting close to that reversion spot that I'll look for, which is about 65.5. So if you break the low, there's still Monday's bottom where I can go for the trend break. At some point, if the market continues to look relatively strong, I think there's a bit of a bounce play that we got to watch out for. But did we miss a super chat there? Because I see one. Did we get this? Okay, well, if you have super chats, just feel free to throw them up there, Andre, because I might have missed it while we're trading. So just throw it up anytime you want there, Andre. It was from Jacka. 27K profit on Intel 47 calls. Of course, that would be for Thursday. Bought yesterday, sold the pop this morning. Picked up Nike 46.5 and 48 calls out in the middle of May. Tariff refund. That's right. We haven't really talked too much about the tariff refunds. I'm not as much of a believer that Nike is bottomed because I'm one of those like put up or shut up kind of people. Like, and put up usually means a 50 period. So I'm very cautious with the micro bounce that it has. But Intel, I think you can't go wrong ringing the register before the earnings on that one. Throw up the next super chat if you like. We've got Norwegian Kroners. Thank you, Bijo. What do you think of going along these levels on Wolf?
Wolf research, okay.
You know what?
Terrible.
You already have an entry with a stop and your targets and a plan of action. Anytime a trader has their own plan of action that works for you, no one should be able to tell you otherwise. If the strategy is something that, again, like works for you. What would I say about it? Okay, it looks it's a bearish looking chart on the 15-minute, like false break of the high, head and shoulders, then rejected there. But there's worse things than if you like it and catching that falling knife on a reversion trade. I do it all the time. I use those for my entries. You have yourself a bit of a stop. You're actually not even looking for like 20-30 and you're looking for 21. The structure looks okay. I just tend to want to catch falling knives with a trend break as an entry plan as opposed to just buying in front of a level blindly. But there's nothing incredibly terrible about that. And as long as you have your own plan of action, I think it's absolutely fine. Like just make sure you adhere to your stops. It's even more important when something's in a downward trend, which it looks like it is.
Yeah. Gorev, look at this, man. Tesla, like we're posted up here at 27s or 28s. It just keeps knocking into that door. NVDA 1 minute left. Yeah, I was just about to pull this thing up and be like, man, this thing is continuously putting in these prints and not turning around. Like they're blowing past them on the 1 minute. I'm going to get SMR off here, or IBIT, because it's not pulling back. I want to see what we can get up to. It's going to help drag the market up. We're only a couple pennies away from catching a fill here. CAR down to 751, so that thing's down $100 almost, essentially.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I mean, 843. I don't think this is it, to be honest with you, Neil. I think we would see a little bit more of a fierce and
even
quicker. Yeah, exactly. Toss low. That's not what we want. Tesla, we need to break this high in order for us to catch that fill. But as long as we continue to put these in, excuse me, Gorb, I like our chances for a move back into towards the volume-weighted average price. Look what the overall market's doing, the SPY and the NASDAQ here. We're not too far off of the high of the day. And then sure enough, we have SPY just a couple of inches or a couple of cents off of that level. But all right, guys, let's send things off to Neil.
Markets are at the highs and extremely active, and for traders, that means big opportunities, more setups, and more momentum. But to really take advantage of these conditions, you need a couple of things. You need discipline and access to capital. Instead, and this is where Trade the Pool comes in. Rather than being limited by the size of your account, traders can access the firm's capital and focus on executing their strategy and minimizing their risk. No more fear of blowing up that personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. It's limited risk trading, and that's what we're calling it. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now and get 10% off. I want to shout out to Trade the Pool for sponsoring as part of the show. Big shout out to all of the, for Mitch when he comes on. We appreciate him.
Yeah.
We just wicked the high on the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't really failed it yet.
And what kind of pullback is that on IBIT? You see that?
It's not a huge one.
No, man, it's
not like this is like we're getting
shallow.
micro pullbacks, and I'm like just sort of drawing the trend line there. What I want to make sure is that I get the back end of the. I don't want to be on the front end. Like I was taking a breakout there, but then my exit point, right? Like when it lost VWAP, that's a breakout trade. So the breakout losing, I don't mind that because it's a different structure. You're taking it at the open. But now I want to make sure we're pulling back in and I get the other side of the trade, which is buying that dip. Intel is absolutely in a death spiral. It's getting to the capitulation area. It's showing no signs of actually capitulating yet. But it's starting to look like it's trying to turn. Like you get one bottoming tail candle and then confirm the next, and I'm going into the reversal and looking for that VWAP retracement play. This one's absolutely dying. Yuckity yuck yuck, and they don't report till after the bell tomorrow. Someone's selling off early.
We might like this play here, Neil, too, because that from a trend break standpoint. Check this out on SMR, right? Like if we break and we have a 1 minute candle open on the back side of it, yeah, exactly, and the VWAP hold. I think there's a couple things that can work for us here potentially. As soon as we get the green light, Adair.
We had Tim Cook news yesterday. Now today we have a Lisa Cook update. Now, if you haven't heard this name in a while, Lisa Cook was the member of the Fed Board of Governors, who I believe on August 20th, President Trump announced he was going to be firing August 20th, 2025. Effective immediately. Now, of course, we know she stayed on the Fed board. The Supreme Court's been waiting for this decision. We still don't have a decision. So apologize for the very lengthy lead up into this, but no decision yet, according to CNBC, on whether or not Fed Governor Lisa Cook will remain on the board. I did listen to the arguments for this going back a couple months now, and the Supreme Court justices generally seemed to be, at the very least, kind of sympathetic to her position and confused as to why this case was happening. But if they get more details, of course, I will keep you posted. Right now, it looks like we don't have a Supreme Court decision yet, as the market continues to trek towards new high of day. Back to you.
Yeah, there goes SMR. Tesla removed this bid, right? Like, it doesn't want to break through the high, but SMR breaking trend and now going, oh my Lanta, it's going absolutely off right now. A nice solid trend break, multiple things working for it. You're right at the volume-weighted average price holding up and then off to the races it goes. So whoever's been in SMR, nice work. I was looking for this long yesterday. It didn't come in, but today it's working pretty good. And we can't get that break here on Tesla. The longer we reject it, now we've formed somewhat of a double top. Watch out for this thing to break down a little bit more.
There it is. We have what? Thank you for the super chat. I just got, so when I was saying there it is, I kind of meant the potential curl on IBIT. It wasn't necessarily the super chat that I was talking about. I didn't get everything in here on Intel, and I haven't even placed a stop yet. Oh, I have. I'm good. Let me see if I want to be able to get all in. It's coming right back. So I got some out in front of 66, but I'm still trying to catch the fill in front of the 3/4 to get the rest of the shares. As we have Darius Wright. Thoughts on ServiceNow reporting earnings today? You got the dip at 83 on now. They've been flying. It's a software, like just insane software recovery. It's a good trend up. I guess it's not through yesterday's high. I don't like making plays into earnings because you get so much noise. You get people positioning going into it, so you get like crazy whipsaw action where like you can be on a very good trend and then in the afternoon it'll just break it for no reason on its own. Like little things. It'll ignore the market sometimes because it's going to do its own thing going into the earnings play. But I do think a temporary bottom has been made. And on top of that, like ServiceNow probably doesn't have as big of a burden on their actual report given how bad the software has been beaten up. So they probably don't have to be perfect on it. So I think that bodes well for them. I just don't like chasing this move for a trade. Like if you're in at the bottom, I'm always a ring the register before earnings kind of person because if it's at a level, like if I'm swinging something, the 50 period's already a target for me, or any moving average, or the 200 period if it was there. So I'm always ringing the register on some. Before, and then not having to rely on the report. You got to consider what happened in Netflix. Netflix is a very similar chart, right? Like it had that crazy bottom, ran into earnings, was at resistance on earnings, Guidance was poor, and then they got a bit of the dump because it had already made that good run.
Look at Bitcoin go, man! Wow,
Bitcoin's such a big.
Yeah, it's gone. Okay, so Neil, you know what I had on the features? So I have on my ARCA gateway, but on NASDAQ, but I removed the click to box. So essentially, when you hit the key,
it automatically.
Yeah, it just right. So I'm like, well, why is it doing that? And then I'm realizing that SMR is on the NYSE, and I'm like, oh, I never re-clicked the box when I reconfigured my thing. So it's like you hit the key, automatically punches you out without putting the order on the level 2. And I'm like, why is it doing that? Yep. Figure it out. And then as I'm like, oh, okay, light bulb click. I'm like, okay, let's take a little bit off here so I can manage it. Boom, click it again. I'm like, what am I doing? Gets me all out. But SMR, we'll pull that one up. It was a little scalp. We'll be happy with it. One of those days. Oops, what's the SMR plus? We don't want that. Yeah, so this is the nice little scalp that we had on SMR. It's still continuing to climb. I'm watching the prints at 79. We get a nice little move. I mean, nothing substantial or anything along those lines. We would have liked to post that trend line break. Boom, off to the races it goes. Yeah, nice call out there, Gorev, on NVDA, a couple attempts, man. We take our at-bats, whether it be 2 or 3 times, that's it. It works out the 3rd time. Hopefully, from a risk-to-reward standpoint, it's really working out for you, and you can kind of recover. I don't know if you got out from the original positions, but there's that SMR scalp. Would have been nice to still be in it, but nonetheless, we are still involved with some TSLA. There we go. Now we're printing 28s. This is exactly where we wanted to take a little bit more off, so we'll do exactly that. We're posted up at 27s. One more strong clean flush above the ask, and we get the bid to hit that 27 mark. We're going to be taking a little bit more profit off here, Neil.
That's what it's all about. And Intel, what is dead, I still think will die, but for now it's going higher. I was thinking about VWAP, and then I forgot. You got to get through the closing price. We care more about where a stock closes than where it opens, and it closed at 66.25. So that's like a built-in resistance zone, and I gotta respect the fact that it respected it this morning. Like it consolidated for just this brief little 3-minute before breaking back down, and based on that dark pool wick, it was probably an overnight level as well in Blue Ocean. So it's a bearish stock. The fact that we're able to grab like the $50 on it, I think I should be ringing the register. Call it a gut call, or just call it the fact that I was bearish on this thing and I think Intel's a short. But either way, you get the curl, you play it into the prior close level. I'll be thinking short somewhere in the VWAP range anyways, so I'd rather just ring the register and move on to the next, which I'm generally hoping will be something in IBIT, if I'm being real.
I mean, I don't know what to say.
But IBIT doesn't want to come out. Byron Hart just said, so close out. I'm just explaining what I'm doing. You do it. Like, there's a million, like, let's be real. Like, I got out of the short, and then it went another, like, bajillion dollars. Right, like I take the long, it comes right into the prior close price. I'm going against the grain in that particular moment. So like I'll take it. It doesn't mean it's going back into the lows. It just means that was my read in the moment on the stock. And then of course, right after I do that, look what happened to USO. USO is breaking VWAP. I hate to say this, but I'm just shut up or shut up. If it loses VWAP, I just saw a pullback candle in IBIT. I'm gonna buy into the IBIT dip. So if we close under VWAP, I think we trend down, in which case I want to be in this dip into IBIT. Peter Hop, thoughts on ONDS? Love having you guys on. Love having the viewers that love us and ask interesting questions and provide you the community. And I want to take a look at the visualizer because I know we haven't looked at the names you guys are interested in today. Unfortunately, it's been like a fast-paced morning, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yuck. Oh, I don't like to see market at the highs and then you have what had been a good runner chilling out at the lows. Yeah, that kind of stinks.
Only a taste.
This has been such a good runner the last couple of sessions. It could just be that whole day 3 thing where it's running out of steam on day 3. But technically, even though it failed to break, it's still holding support. So I guess it's not dead if it holds onto this support. I just don't like that back end. Not with the strength that we're seeing. Like everything else looks strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we're posted up at 26s again, and it just doesn't want to break for us. Bitcoin's starting to get that pullback. How come Hood is not following BTC euphoria? I don't know. Would we like who's up more off of the lows, right? We want to see this decoupling essentially from the two names. I don't want Robinhood to be that heavily correlated like Coinbase is with Bitcoin. I just think it has so much more going for it as a brokerage, right?
It's not Bitcoin.
So let's do a comparison right now. Good thing we have charts and everything along those lines where we can do these types of things, eh, Neil?
Truth.
BTC, let's head over to the daily and see where we are. So we'll use the same benchmark, February 23rd of 2026. You're up 27%. Okay, that's nice. 30% there almost on Bitcoin. Now let's see what we have on Robinhood. Oops. So I think to say that it's not participating, maybe from an intraday standpoint you're referring to. Let's go back to this.
It's not a pure play anyways.
We'll go from the lows here. You get 37%, right? Like there's the PDT rule going for Robinhood. Maybe it's just taking a little bit of a breath. Bitcoin's strong today, but the stocks do that. And I don't want to see that really tight correlation between the two, to be honest with you.
No, I like the fact that it's separated because it's an acknowledgement. It's an acknowledgement that you're getting more.
Exactly.
Or at least something different would be the better way to put it. With the hooded one. Let's go to Adair. It's 10:20. Time for the small cap recap.
Here's ELPW, Elong Power Holding Limited. I know this one has been discussed before, and I believe maybe even traded before in the midday show. It's rallied in the past, what we sometimes call a repeat offender. No news on ELPW today, but it is worth noting. This name, I was seeing apparently it's already halted today, I believe, and they do also have a market cap of just over $4 million. Next up, a GPU, Axe Compute, as you can tell by the name, a computing and GPU-related company. They got a $260 million contract for, you guessed it, GPUs, roughly $51 million market cap for this company. Last but not least, Inflection. This is a quantum name. It was a recent company that did a business combination, or DSPAC, as it's sometimes called. And it's been in the headlines quite a lot today, getting a U.S. defense Advanced Research Project Agency contract here worth $2 million for its multi-stack quantum program. INFQ has a larger market cap here, about $3.3 billion, float of around 160 million shares, short float, pretty negligible here, about 1.84%. Do make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and we'll send you back over to the guys.
It's all Apple driving the market. Well, I shouldn't say it's all Apple. That's a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, the strongest name is AAPL. Now,
is it though?
But it was
AMD's at 292 and at the highs.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, I'm freezing. I don't know. I'm loading now for some reason.
AMD's an absolute rocket. Apple, I know Apple's moving. I pivoted to whatever, it is what it is. get like a small win on it, go over, take the Intel trade, which I bet you was even going higher as well. So we probably.
But I don't even think Apple didn't even have that dip. Apple didn't even have that dip out of the open like some of these other names.
No, it didn't, and that's a good thing. IBIT finally did. It did a little dip. You just got to take what you can get. If it doesn't want to ever get to the volume-weighted average price, I was going to take another shot at some point because of this. It's like this gap trade, right? Like there's just so much. Like there's room. We're at 78.7 on Bitcoin. So like anything could happen here. You get that 45 play in IBIT. You've got 79K. You've got 80K out there. So I wanted to make sure that I got back into it somewhere. You've got Micron, which is all-time high. No, almost. All right, so Micron is very, very close to an all-time high on its own. Unbelievable. It's like super strength.
Whatever,
There's just strength all over the place. What did we say for NVIDIA? What? Bruh. What's NVIDIA doing?
It's not doing anything. And the trend line break on TSLA.
That's incredibly disappointing, NVIDIA. Do better than that. Come on, NVIDIA. What's wrong with NVIDIA today? That's a problem. You know, Micron with that strength. Broadcom's probably going absolutely ham as well. Like everything, the market's 1.25. Yeah, there you go. Broadcom's killing it. Why? What is with NVIDIA these days?
I don't have an answer to your question, Neil, but I do have an answer to Broadcom, actually, because I'm making an infographic on it right now. Broadcom was one of the companies that Google announced are going to be expanding their partnerships with. We know, I think the TPU announcement kind of overshadowed a lot of this, but they're expanding partnerships with the likes of Broadcom, Accenture. They're also entering a new partnership with PepsiCo, and they have a Google Cloud Next event. Now, I looked this up. This is just cloud. It's going to be the keynote happening here with the Google Cloud CEO, so not Sundar Pichai, as far as I know, who is the CEO of Google, but that'll be at 12 p.m. today. Maybe keep an eye on Broadcom with that in mind, given that we're going to get that Google Cloud event. Probably going to get some conversation about the TPUs as well. I, of course, will be watching that event, so not to hop on this too much, but just to give you some context for that, Neil.
Well, appreciate it, Adair. As always, you can always count on Adair to fill us in. USO. So we have an interesting situation because the market's pressing through highs, and USO did end up holding VWAP. So that's weird. But when I saw it bust through, VWAP, I didn't have to, but just for myself, took more out of IBIT because we're at the top. And if we turn around here, I'm thinking we get to VWAP, especially with USO over VWAP. So I took a couple more legs out. That way I'd only hold on to about a third. So if it breaks that candle, this doesn't turn into a losing trade because I'm buying it at the top. So I just don't want to turn this one into a loser, so I took a little bit more out. But it's all about what's going on with the NASDAQ relative to what we're seeing in oil futures. Oil futures ticking higher and the market's not caring whatsoever. Rhinosaur. Hey, why not? Made up animal. Whoa, okay, is that the same? Okay, we'll read the first one. ServiceNow CEO bought 3 million shares at this level as well as over 10 congressional members at. For real? I hesitate to say just buy something because people in Congress are buying it. That being said, if you already have a reason to buy something that you believe in and you really like, a bunch of members of Congress also happening to like it and the CEO at the same level, I call that confluence. Like if I was looking at ServiceNow, I'd consider it confluence and maybe a reason for me to pull the trigger if I was already thinking it. On its own, no, not necessarily, but in conjunction with other reasons to buy something, yeah. Well, there's nothing bad about that, I suppose. Like you're just looking for reasons for strength. It's kind of like I'm looking to buy the dip on IBIT, but I also see USO going down.
Yeah.
So that's what confluence means.
At least you got that dip buy, man. These pullbacks are extremely shallow. We didn't even come into the volume weighted average price, man.
That day that will go down in infamy.
Yeah, that'll drive you up the wall for sure. Yeah.
Grunfeld, we got another one.
They're flying in here.
We got all these super chats here today. Grunfeld, Honeywell as an earnings play tomorrow. They're in the morning, I guess. Thinking guidance will shock analysts. Company is a major player not only in space but also robotics and automation. They are a major player. It's weird though. Like some of the more traditional. It's like we were talking about with Boeing doesn't get enough credit for being a defense name. I feel like that's the same thing when you look at like a Honeywell, is that they don't get the hype in these sectors. I think that's sort of the problem. Like, if there's hype around a sector, they don't get the same level of benefit for participating. It's the same thing with IBM and quantum. Like, it just, whatever. Like, they're upside quantum play too, but it just doesn't seem to matter. They're on some, I hate, oh, you just lost the 50. Where's the 200 period moving average on this? There it is. Oh, you're holding the 200 period moving average, so it's got something it can dip into on disappointment. I always like there to be a floor that you can hold on a dip in earnings. If there isn't one, yuckity yuck yuck. I just wonder if they get enough hype. And you kind of want hype if you're talking about space.
Yeah. Medallism. All right, man. We see where you're getting at. Microsoft. Yes, it's at the high of the day. All right. Let's get to. Every time that door opens, I just hope that is Randy with. Anyways, hope is false. Hope is. Anyways, aside from that, Microsoft, yeah, it's not looking too bad. $430.91. This was definitely out of the top names. This one was definitely beat up the most. You're still down 22%, but at some point you were down substantially more. 35% haircut on Microsoft. Man, oh man, had there been the dip by this, I'm not going to say the century, but you're up 21%.
Century?
No, that's crazy. Do you think?
The century?
What is the dip? Yeah, what do you think the dip by the century is?
Are we talking about literally anything in 2008 was pretty good?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, if we're being real,
no, it's not. It was a little bit of a push, but it's a good look here. We're gonna send things off to Adair. There goes Tesla finally towards the high of the day. Bitcoin still hovering around that neck of the woods. So, pretty good session so far.
Okay, guys, seeing further reports that President Trump's going to be giving Iran 3 to 5 days for their ceasefire. Apparently, the ceasefire is not going to be open-ended. Unclear what exactly will that will mean. But again, I'm hearing now second report that we're going to be getting a 3 to 5 day extended ceasefire. We know the ceasefire extension was announced yesterday, but incredibly open-ended in terms of how long it would last. Again, looks like they do not want an open-ended ceasefire. Also, USO and Watch as U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that gas prices might get even lower than they were before the conflict in Iran. Now, we know President Trump has been saying he thinks that the prices of oil can go down the second the conflict ends. Then we also had Energy Secretary Chris Wright saying that he thinks it might take until next year, 2027, to get these prices back to where they were. But again, Bessent's saying that the prices can get even lower than they ever were before the war. Back to you.
It's not. Gotta stop doing that to myself.
Adair,
take a little bit.
Go ahead.
We're going to take a little bit more off there on TSLA as it broke. I did remove the majority of my position right here, so now we're sitting on about 7-8% of it. The trend line broke. That's why I decided to take some off, and it just wasn't breaching. So you can see on the backside, we take a little bit more off there, but then runs into 30. So Johnny, hopefully you had a good one, good trade on that. I'm still waiting on this Bitcoin pullback, to be honest with you. And the higher that it climbs, the less I like it, to be honest with you.
Well, so it's got this going on.
Yeah.
From the first red candle on the 3 dipped into here. So I just bought on this little micro trend and looked to take most of it out. If it holds the trend line again, like bottoming tail candle, I'll try to add to it. But otherwise, just kind of let it go and wait for the volume weighted average price. But what's happening is USO just continues to hold VWAP. Like, what you don't want to happen here, I should just reclaiming VWAP. It hasn't run my stop yet, so I'll just leave the stop in. No, you're threatening that USO is just going to resume this uptrend. It just keeps on holding the bid. That's going to be bad, I think, for BTC. So I'm not going to reload. Maybe if we get a good signal off the volume weighted average price. But yeah, my stop is underneath this little wick. Just underneath the 70 level. We'll leave it in. We took most of it out up at the top. But if we get that curl, I know where I'm looking short, and it's here. It's back into Intel. Intel close to the volume weighted average price. I started with this one as a short. It just presented along at the bottom, so I took it because that's what was there. But if we get this upward trend resumption on futures, oil futures, and the market pulls back, I want a name that's already weak that I already thought was a dog. So didn't reload on IBIT. It doesn't mean there isn't another long to have. I was trading at the top anyways. But I think the next trade I'm looking for is going to be a short. Unless something drastically changes with USO.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Not an IBIT in Intel.
Yeah, in Intel, yeah, I mean, it's so tough to say that because like Apple's still hovering, like it's still going. How's there nothing under this name? Like Apple is going absolutely parabolic right now. This is a complete buy program. I can't even pull up the daily on this thing. I mean, Microsoft is pretty strong here as well too. So there's that selling in Bitcoin, Neil. Like there you go. We just had X amount of time grinding higher, absolutely evaporated essentially in the span of a couple of minutes. I'm glad that we got out the majority of this. So if you're looking for signs of strength, maybe it's going to be in Microsoft and AAPL. I didn't see anything crazy like. So it was a couple of names. It was Amazon, Apple, I believe it was. Yeah, Amazon and others not seeking tariff refund. That came out like earlier this morning. So I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. Gorev. Watch out for this. Watch out for this print, my brother. These things take a little bit of time to turn around, but this could be the ultimate topping tail signal. We want to see the volume really start to uptick on this one and see what the 1 minute time frame is telling us from a detailed standpoint. But watch out on the 5 minute print. There could be a little bit of a reversal sign stepping in. Let's see how strong this name actually is. Same thing with NVDA right at VWAP. But we do have IBIT coming into levels that we're looking at. Yeah, it's right at VWAP now. We're gonna have some news here. Adair, talk to us.
Iran update. So we know earlier we heard that Iran was not sure if they wanted to engage with the U.S. on Friday, which is what the U.S. wants to do. Now we're hearing that Iran currently has no plans to engage with the U.S. on Friday. So again, Iranian straight media now saying that Iran is not planning on talking to the U.S. on Friday. We know that ceasefire was extended by 3 to 5 days, which would bring us roughly Friday to Sunday in terms of when that extension is going to be. So we're going to have to wait and find out what other details we get. But it looks like Iran is not excited or going to be engaging with at all that Friday planned conversation that they're going to have with the U.S. Back to you.
So two things. One, VWAP came rather quickly on IBIT. Like it was just getting out near the top, and then all of a sudden we got to VWAP. The curl at the prior close or area on Intel, it did the topping tail, so I entered. I've already taken some out on the way to the low. And then let me show you IBIT because light comes at you fast. Like I feel like it was just getting out. Next thing I know, we're at VWAP and bouncing. So with that bounce, I think it was because of that spike up. Like it was just this. It was this big spike up on USO is likely what caused that drop into IBIT. So I'm going to play this bounce into the high, which is about 44.90-ish. If we get up there, want to make sure we got a couple of legs out if we get up to that. Going to throw that in. Yeah, so we got a long and a short. It's long something which is trending up, and at least it's short something which is trending to said downside. And again, just waiting for that topping tail candle entry to get me into Intel, and was waiting for VWAP. They both just happened. It's weird that they happened at the same time. Like, very odd. Like Intel flashed that short at more or less the same moment that Bitcoin came to VWAP.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there it is. Like the headline came in, we had that pullback in IBIT. SMR didn't head towards the high of the day, now forming somewhat of a bear flag or bull flag here. You can see the consolidation. I don't know why it's not pulling up the daily on Apple, but the inverted hammer candle that I was looking at, it printed on Google, but it didn't print on Apple. Excuse me, right? So there it is at a high. Right, you breach through this bull flag high, and then you're starting to sell off a little bit. Just be careful of the volatility spikes. Buyers stepped right back in, and I would have liked this to close down here to show that sellers are a little bit more in control. Right. Not necessarily the case right now, so watch out as this being a potential just breath. In AAPL, Tesla coming right back in towards the volume weighted average price. This thing's really fidgety here today. I don't know. Finicky, whatever you would like to call it. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with it, but it's freezing up. We can't even pull up Tesla there for you guys. The quantum names, those guys went on for a little bit of a run. There's Rich Tech Robotics, not doing too much. RGTI off of the lows. Ooh, okay. Maybe a potential play right here on Rigetti. QuantumScape Battery, more or less. QUBT. And IonQ, those are good potential looks. Now, I want to see something south. Like, let's just talk a little book here, essentially. I want to see something south of VWAP here on IBIT in order for me to gauge. I don't like it above. I want to see it below, and I think we're going to get that momentarily. So an additional clean flush to the downside. and some price action that displays itself that we're going to turn around, and I think that's going to be a green light for us to engage. TSLA has been pretty good to us on the session. It's the only trader. I've started the day off by saying, yeah, I'm going to wait the first 10 minutes, and then I was in approximately 60 seconds later. So, I mean, aside from that, we get that nice little scalp, we re-engage, and now we're getting somewhat of a rebound. But IBIT has been my primary. NVDA continuing to climb. So as long as the MAG remains strong, maybe we could just put aside to what USO is up to, because it's starting to head back in towards the volume weighted average price once again. 127.55. Not much going on with that one.
Yeah, and it actually just broke VWAP. So I'll take the first L of the day on Intel.
Oh, okay.
It's short to long to back into short. It's not at VWAP, but I was taking it off of that topping tail candle. We're still in that IBIT off of the volume weighted average price. That's trying to bounce pretty decently. It has to get to the highs, I think. Well, has to is the wrong word. Like, I just feel like if this bounce doesn't get back into the high of the day over here on IBIT, that it would be disappointing. Like the market, and the reason I say that is because the NASDAQ, there you go. That's why I'm saying it, because the NASDAQ wicked down and then right back into the top, just underneath that 27,000. So if we don't really retest all of that, I would call it a disappointment in IBIT. If it ends up only a scalp trade, that would be, again, a disappointment. I don't mind a shallow bounce. Like, you make what you make, you take what you get, and then you try not to be upset with whatever bounce ends up being off of VWAP here. I've already been able to get a couple of legs out, but it's just not enough in my opinion. Like, you want to see that relative strength come back into it for sure. Oh, you know what I forgot to, this is what I meant to go back to. I obviously missed a trade in Beyond Meat when I saw it bounce off that $1 level. But you know what? It's a small capper. It's on the back end from yesterday, back end of the move from yesterday, failed the lower high, and is now underneath VWAP. So there's a continuation trade short if it confirms this hold under VWAP, although I don't think I paid for locates.
Yeah.
I did not pay for locates. I'm going to have to go and pay for locates. Probably has to show me a bit more weakness to actually sell it off, but I'm now looking for a short entry in IBIT.
You tapped back into, you're thinking short on IBIT now?
No. I'm talking about Beyond Meat.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was going to say, you got back into IBIT.
Yeah. Well, it bounced into VWAP, which was, that's what I was waiting for to begin with.
Yeah, I wanted to see something a little bit below it, but we weren't fortunate enough to get that one there. Yeah, I know, man. I'm gonna have to send someone on a espresso run here soon. If I knew how to do the drip, I would go and do it. But I don't want to mess around with that thing. I'm not a coffee guy. Adair.
Just be aware here, guys. BAH plummeting here. This is Booz Allen Hamilton. We know Booz Allen used to have some Treasury contracts. These were canceled in January of 2026. Well, we had Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent commenting on these contracts, basically saying that they no longer have confidence in Booz Allen at the Treasury. There was a whole issue here with taxpayer data getting out. This was, again, older issue. The contract was canceled, I believe, at least a year after the actual situation went down. But either way here, BAH not liking Bessent saying that they do not have confidence in the company at the Treasury. Let's talk about these stocks in the sectors. And honestly, pretty good sector board today, guys. Tech services, not a lot of weakness to find here. PLTR, I'm going to highlight with a 3.7% move to the upside on that USDA contract valued at $300 million. Producer manufacturing to the upside. Health services to the upside. UMich earnings day 2. Non-energy minerals doing quite well here. You've got Newmont and Freeport McMorran both reporting tomorrow morning. Newmont after the bell, Freeport before the bell. Shout out to Neil there with FCX as one of his picks of the year. Health tech generally pretty strong, though. You've got DHR, Danaher, and PFE Pfizer both to the downside, and electronic technology. Two plays that we had report yesterday, GE and RTX, both down sharply on day 2. But other than that, good look for the sector. MU to the upside, up about 5% right now. Reports that they're going to be getting involved in the Match Act over at Congress. If I get more details on that, I'll let you know. But generally pretty good board. I do want to let you guys know we have comments coming through here from Scott Bessent on oil, saying that oil could have gotten to $150 had they not made some decisions here with Iran sanctions and removal of said sanctions or moving of those sanctions. If I get more details, to keep you posted, but he is discussing oil. He did already discuss BAH as well. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. 20 minutes until the midday, but you know what?
What's that, brother?
You still get to keep Joe.
Oh.
putting in that heavy work.
Yeah, everybody else said, don't worry, Sean, be back. He'll be back Friday.
He's back from the beach on Friday. And we've had a lot of super chats today. So I want to shout out and appreciate all the viewers. And we got some gifts this morning, too, even on TikTok. So shout out to all of our TikTok viewers out there. I think it was like, we had Valerio from TikTok, Richie, Toy in there, Torian as well. And we have another one here, a super chat from Carl. No, apparently not. Well, there is one from Carl eventually, but we've got another one from Golf Franchise. I thought did we not get this one? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we answered the question about power integrations. Like 99% sure we did. There's a bunch of other ones up there. I'm going to throw up the one. I saw this one from Carl here, so I wanted to make sure we grabbed it. True pain of oil prices delayed or unreleased yet? Well, you have to remember, like, a lot of this big spike, it takes time to work its way through the supply chain. The longer the spike extends, you're going to hear CEOs talking about it. You'll hear that in this earnings season, right? Like, you already heard it with Nike, and you'll continue to see it work through. So absolutely, it has not fully worked its way through the system. Things don't work that fast. Mm-hmm. I heard, like, because there was a good story about so plastics are going higher. So take a very cyclical business like Christmas trees. Like, orders go in a specific time of year, and it's like all of your ordering goes in a specific time of year. Those input prices go higher, you get absolutely screwed. All right, what just happened in USO? It's spiking through VWAP
there goes
again.
Bitcoin, yes.
So like IBIT, and this is why you try to take some profit. So we got just over half out on the way up, was looking to get 75% out with one more fill, but now you're back into VWAP. So if I see another bottoming tail candle, I'll try to reload again. But at some point, I would like to see this dance stop on USO. We're going 127.5 to 128.25 to 127.5 to 128.25. If the longs are going to extend here, this needs to hold through these bottoms, which hasn't happened just yet. But thank you for the super chat. That's I do believe that as well, that it has not worked all the way through. We also have JKL. We gotta get
another one. Holy
from the Blue Skies report. I hope everyone has blue skies. You're shorting MSTR. Does it have to be a short now?
Oh, there's Todd there.
Yeah, it's premium. Well, it's the same chart as Bitcoin.
Oh,
it's if it loses VWAP, I can understand the sentiment thing. The way that we're seeing oil futures go, it could be a flip. I'm probably going to try to reload one more time. We'll see. If it bottom tail candles off VWAP, I'm reloading IBIT anyways. But you're at a pretty decent resistance spot on MSTR. And then there's the whole, I guess I had a chart crash. And then there's the whole short MSTR Bitcoin hedge, which I feel like when it starts to get into resistance, people are more apt to put on. Whether or not you think that helps you, I would rather short this than Bitcoin, I suppose, is the only thing I would say.
MSTR? Yeah, but
if you're bearish in crypto,
yeah,
I think MSTR is a better short than Bitcoin is.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about the leverage aspect.
And then BM&R is probably even better than both.
Yeah. It sucks to suck, as I typically say, man.
What did you say?
It sucks to suck. You ever say that in like sports?
I have never said that.
Yeah.
But I understand exactly what you mean by it.
Yeah, it's legit. I used to say that to guys in hockey, and they would just get so mad. My one boy didn't even.
Oh, that's your go-to chirp.
That's my good. Like, yeah, I mean, like, what do you want me to say, man? It sucks to suck. Like, I don't know. Yeah, and they get frustrated. My one buddy would just call everybody a hot dog, and I was just like, bro, what? The hockey language is absolutely. Like, if you're looking,
good chirps.
It's the best chirps. It's the best. Like, guys will come up with things or that you wouldn't even believe. It's like, man, all right, the good one sucks. Yeah, I know it does, JH. It sometimes it sucks. Best advice. It's the best advice. It's just like, don't suck, essentially. Just so you practice a little bit more or do whatever you got to do to turn things around. Yeah, put in that work. Got to check AG. Yeah, Taylor, I see that Shreve's going to be all over that one today, probably. Strong this morning, AX Compute, but we are trading below the volume weighted average price on it. So I did have this up here for you. I seen you put that in there. SRFX in there. So Poet was looking good this morning. Not so much now.
That scanner now,
Yeah, it's up there. It's upgraded, my boy. Watch out. I don't have the thing. Can you hit it for me?
Which one?
The ha-ha? No, it's over there. Ha-ha. Ha-ha. See? It's like ha. Ha-ha. There you go, Spice Adams, baby. There goes NVDA to the top side, market climbing higher once again. We're all out of our Tesla trade as it's now back in towards the volume-weighted average price. And Bitcoin still holding up around that neck of the woods as well, too.
It just bounced VWAP at the exact same moment that what happened on USO. We just went right to the top of the range and turned around again. So we've got this yo-yo action continuing here in oil futures, which is causing yo-yo action for some things, but for the NASDAQ, it is an all-fly zone here for now. I don't love that reversal candle on a 3-minute, but the futures are firmly in control. Yeah. We have another super chat, so I'm just gonna. This is an interesting one. I gotta think about it. I don't know that I have something off the top of my head for this. Mark. Worst purchase you've ever made. I'm gonna make the assumption you're talking about an equity, and not like just in general, right? Like it has to be that.
Give us one of both.
The worst purchase I ever made. I was smart enough to get out of it before all of the damage, but at one point I actually bought Coinbase. I'm trying to remember the exact price. It was in, I want to say 3. But and I'm trying to jog my memory. If I look at the chart, I feel like I'll jog my memory if I can see the chart. I feel like it was somewhere. It was above 3, but lower than 3. Maybe it was like 330 or something. And then I eventually whatever. I made some money on it. Then I took the L. And then when it was SI, like I had been in SI did really well on Silvergate, believe it or not. Ran that from like 47 to like 120 something. And then when I got out of that, I rang the register well before the high. It went to like 150. When I rang the register on that, I remember using that money to buy the dip in coin, and that ended up being good. But it was a god-awful purchase. The why I thought it was a terrible purchase is I'm not usually the person that would buy during the euphoria candles on an IPO. It's just like, that's not a good, you wait till it settles down, and it had not even settled down. I just kind of put money into it before it had even settled down, which I thought was ridiculous. Yeah. But I wasn't silly enough to hold it down to $40. I think I only lost 25%, but it was the stupidity of the entry when I looked at it, being like, I just bought this for no apparent reason other than its name at that price, because looking at the chart, I would never have bought it otherwise looking at the chart. I remember looking at the same.
It's probably, there you go, 98%. You remember Bailey Buttons, Aurora Cannabis there, mine's Afria. Down 99.9%.
Oh, you know what? I could have said, whatever. I could have said the marijuana stock that I own too.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's send things off to Adair.
Take a look here at the US dollar. First, I actually want to mention here interesting headline coming out of Hebrew media, ISNA specifically citing Hebrew media. So I guess it's coming out of Israel here, reporting that, quote, contrary to Trump's claims, Washington does not have complete control over the Strait of Hormuz. So mild headline, but just keep you guys posted. More back and forth in the Middle East as we've had over the last handful of days and weeks. Let's take a look here at the US dollar. Nothing too exciting here on the daily chart, just kind of continuing to consolidate higher. Yesterday, we did have a strong green candle. Today, only up about 0.04% rather, so relatively flat, but continuing to bounce off the low that we made on Friday, that level of 97.6. Let's talk about economic data for the rest of the week. We don't have anything of note today. Tomorrow, you're going to get jobless claims at 8:30 a.m., 9:45 a.m., you get S&P Services, Composite, and Manufacturing PMI. And then on Friday morning, you're going to be getting University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment at 10. Now, I want to take a look here at our inflation, or not inflation, or rate cut estimates going forward. So as of yesterday, I believe, we could be getting a 25 basis point rate cut in September of 2027. That's been pushed back now to October of 2027. Again, as of right now, according to the CME FedWatch tool, very unlikely we're going to get a rate cut as of this year, and certainly not for the next couple months. We're going to have to wait and see if we get any developments that change that. One metric that I know the market does watch pretty closely is, of course, going to be the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment print at 10 on Friday, because it does have an inflation reading within it. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to stick with us, and make sure to head over to our friends, Neil and Joe.
Got 8 minutes to go. I have to throw this one up. And only because a lot of people are answering what their worst purchase was. Josh saying, I'll never forgive Sundial.
Yeah.
I like to consider myself, like people would get on me for saying, oh man, why are you always hating on Mullen? It just tells me that you haven't been watching the show long enough. The amount of hatred and the amount of like disrespect I would throw at Mullen stock, trust me when I tell you, was 10x for Sundial. Like, basically, if you watch the show, every single chance I get, I would short that stock. To the point that the worst momentum trading loss I ever had on this show was on a Sundial short. Like it had flushed in the morning and I had crushed it, shorting Sundial in the morning. And then it comes back, I think it was like a dollar break, and it comes back up to the dollar. And at that point I was feeling myself.
Ooh.
So you know when you're like, well, it's really good when it flushes in the morning, but when it's a V-shaped recovery on a penny stock, maybe you don't want to short that because it's a V-shaped recovery. I was like, whatever. It goes in, flashes the buck, comes back through. I'm like, bang, 99.5, bang, 99 even. And then like right when it's trapping you, that was like the trap. And then it just heavy wick. Someone marketed it up through the dollar again.
That's crazy.
And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, Taylor.
Oh, word?
Taylor, yeah, you said like we looked at it.
But I hated that
one,
stuff.
Taylor.
Short Sundial.
Taylor.
Now it's dead. Gone.
Another super chat.
Corey Ewing asked earlier about Palantir maybe going back to 180 to 200 with the news. Is this possible or a fake out breakdown? I don't think this. Like today's story for Palantir was a $300 million deal, or sorry, a $300 million contract that they got with the Department of Agriculture. That's not any reason why Palantir is going back up there, right? It's not going to be that. What you can say though is this is the first inning of the Palantir dip. It's held the support. It hasn't really even taken out the trend, right? Like this is it's taking out the trend line now. It's taking out the trend line from the all-time high today. This is a trend line break confirming today over 150, like call it like 150.80, which is basically the price it's at right now. So yeah, when I'm saying it's a first inning, yeah, it's off the lows, but it has not even broken the downtrend, and that could get confirmed today. So technically speaking, this one has a ways to go. And this story, that's good. It's not bad that they get a $300 million contract, but it's Palantir. Like, what's that really doing to their revenues in a general sense?
Yeah.
Before I get to what's for lunch, it's already 11 or 10:55.
Yep.
I'm just gonna have a quick look back at IBIT. It's just not flowing all the way to the high. It's not getting to the top, and USO just broke the HOD.
Yeah, I know.
Like we just broke high of day on USO. And I have IBIT not getting to the top. I'm going to take another, I might get it all out. I wouldn't normally be doing this. I'd be trying to hold. That's not really my style, but USO's breaking higher. And every time I see that, I'm like, why am I still in a long? Why am I still in a long? This is showing me that we should be in a turn. I should be looking for a short entry. But yeah, I've taken most out. I guess I'll hold what I have. And we can now look to see what is for lunch. I have to pull back up here. What kind of flag do we got? What's with the formatting this time?
Flags are off, man.
What the heck is wrong with the formatting?
How do I get access to this thing?
I'm going to go back to find the original email because I downloaded the file. That's the problem. Here, you talk for a couple of seconds while I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. We'll figure out what we got going on for lunch. I'm in Cali. So what's for breakfast? That's fair?
Oh, I got it.
Okay, we got it.
This will work.
All right.
It's an Italian flag today.
All right.
And here's what they're calling it. Nona's house-made meatballs. Okay, so first of all, I don't know why they don't just say homemade. Who says house-made?
This is Nona.
What homemade is she say? Nona's house-made meatballs.
Pasta made.
And then toasted garlic baguette or fresh lettuce wraps. And a classic garden chopped salad.
Okay.
That's new. We've had the meatballs before. They're okay. I don't think they're obvious. I don't really think they're going to be as good as homemade meatballs. Let's be real.
Muted.
Muted. We'll let you turn it on. It's okay. I do it at least once a week.
I mean, anything garlic is amazing. I don't know if it's me. This proves I'm not a vampire, but I think I think garlic is amazing. I'm excited for lunch.
That's good.
Which is important because to be honest, see, I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe I thought you could have been a vampire, and now that you mentioned that, my confidence level is.
Sharif hit the fail.
I just saw a fail. Who did that?
That was Sharif.
Sharif.
He doesn't like garlic. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad that we clarified the vampire part.
Yeah,
sure.
Bro, you gotta get over here, bro.
What time is it? Yeah.
It's 10:57, Sharif.
Give me 30 seconds, my boy. Don't worry. Wow. I'll get over there, man. Hey,
wow,
don't
Sharif.
worry about that, my guy. You know what we gotta do, man. We do the introduction and then
You gotta get that work.
You need to try, Nona's Beyond Meatballs. I don't know if she would make those. She'd be like, "What is this?"
That would be blasphemy.
There's zero chance.
I don't think
Nona would never make those ever.
No chance. No chance.
Or like his future Sharif, the housemaid got movie. Sydney Sweeney is Roll Tide. You know Roll Tide? Do you know who Roll? Do you know who Roll Tide will? Like Roll Tide, no, but do you know Roll Tide Willie?
No, I know what Roll Tide is.
Yeah, like Roll Tide.
And I'm a Big Ten guy, so
okay.
No. I'm a Big Ten fan. Let's just
all right, Roll Tide Willie, baby. All right, yeah, there it is.
Plus, I have a friend that went to Auburn too, so like, I used to play baseball with him.
Okay.
And so like there's a lot of embedded hate for like an Auburn guy, and he would always constantly say. And then there's a guy I went to high school with who was like kind of a mentor to me. He also went to Auburn. I have nothing against Alabama. It's just I have no dog in the fight and a couple of friends that are Auburn guys.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
That's fair. Like, so Neil, the one day that we are okay, see you later, the 4 Yacht Club. Why are you doing that, man? Why you gotta be so rude? Oh, yeah, that was a different one. See you later. I hope you have a good day. We'll give you, how many seconds did I give you? 1,000. So you can sit by, but just don't spam the chat, please, and thank you. He's gone. Aside from that, Neil, Bitcoin right back towards the high of the day. CEO was just talking about how USO just put in a new high of the day moments ago, now starting to come off to 128.73, so that's coming in. The volume-weighted average price hold on Bitcoin was almost prime time. I was looking for some more indecision prints, but what you have is almost a double bottom right here, and then off to the races you go. We're all out of that Tesla. I don't know if Tesla's going to be a dip by VWAP.
You know what, Joe?
See, right now it seems to be the case, so there goes Broadcom.
No, someone's incorrect here.
Yeah.
Someone said, I just saw in the chat, someone said that Broadcom was the first of those names to make it to the all-time high. I don't see that as true. I have it at 418. Let me just confirm on eSignal here. AVGO, let's go to a daily on Broadcom. Where is the high? It's not, I'm confirming. It's right there. It's close. It's close. And by the way, someone was like, Roll Tide is Bam and not Auburn. Maybe that wasn't clear. I just said I don't like the Roll Tide saying, and it's nothing against Alabama.
You don't care about
I have a couple of friends who are Auburn fans who therefore strongly dislike Alabama. So like anytime if someone says Roll Tide, they just lose their ish. So like I kind of have like a proxy not Bama fan. Like I don't really, like I follow the Big Ten and I'm a fan of Michigan State. So it's not like you probably don't like any SEC teams if you're a Big Ten fan. That's just normal. But I can't say I really hate on Bama that much. But if I have to choose someone in the SEC, I'm going with Auburn just because a couple of friends. That's just about it. It is 11 o'clock. We're letting Joe mosey on over. I'm not sure how I feel about this Nona's meatballs. We'll see how they go, but my guess is they're going to be a little bit mid. I'm also not sure how I feel about what's going on here with USO. So I'm going to leave you with, I might not automatically reload a third time on VWAP at IBIT. And the reason for that would be, one last time, can we come to my chart, then we'll send the guys over. The reason I'm not loving this whole reload on IBIT, if we get back down to VWAP, and I took most of it out at the top, is just what I'm seeing happen on USO. Like, we're threatening this break. And if we break out that high, I don't want to be buying dips into VWAP if we break out that high. I think we're getting a bit of a turn. I'm going to trail this. Like, if it breaks halfway under VWAP, I'm just going to get out, take the win, take what you can get, and not be upset. Let's throw it on over to the midday. You still got Joey